Mark, I love you so much. Anna, my niece, threw her arms around my husband, Mark. He looked absolutely delighted. Anna, you're just the cutest thing. Even cuter than my daughter. All right, I'll buy you anything you want. My daughter Sharon watched the two of them with tears in her eyes. A father hurting his own daughter like that is just unforgivable. My name is Cynthia. I've been married to Mark for 15 years, and we have 2 kids, 11 and 10. Sharon, our daughter, has been a bit cheeky lately. I think it's just a phase everyone goes through, but Mark doesn't see it that way. Today, Sharon told me, "Dad, don't come into my room." That's just the age, you know? Just the age? She's only 12. Isn't it a bit early for her to start pulling away from us? That's normal for kids. It's okay for you to go in to clean, but why can't the head of the household go in? There's a time when daughters just don't want their dads around. It's just a phase. How do you know? What if this lasts forever? I also had a rebellious phase when I was her age. There was even a time when I couldn't stand my dad. It's funny now, and my relationship with Dad is good. But Mark, who only has a brother, just doesn't get it. Damn it, daughters aren't cute at all. Mark spat out the words and locked himself in his room. In the morning, the whole family gathers at the breakfast table. Our 10-year-old son Ronald comes in and says, "Good morning," and sits down immediately. But our 12-year-old daughter Sharon doesn't. "Good morning, Sharon." I greeted her. "Yeah." She only replied curtly. Mark, hearing this, slammed his hand on the table. "What the hell was that? Can't you even say a proper good morning?" He yelled in anger, but she just looked at him silently before walking away to wash her face. What was that attitude? Cynthia, what kind of parenting are you doing? What does she think of the father who supports this family? After ranting, Mark stormed out, saying he wasn't hungry. Sharon, you need to say good morning properly, okay? Yes. I'm sorry. If you talk to her properly, she'll listen properly. Even at the rebellious age, she's still adorable. I wish Mark would talk to Sharon more properly too. One day, we went to the in-laws' house. Mark has a brother named Nicholas, and his daughter Anna started middle school this year. We gathered to celebrate Anna's birthday and her entrance into middle school. Oh, so Anna's a middle schooler now? Time flies. I noticed Mark smirking at his phone screen. What's up? Nicholas sent a message and a photo. It's from the entrance ceremony. Anna's really grown up. Mark showed me the picture. It was of Anna in her school uniform, standing between Nicholas and his wife. Nicholas's wife, Larry, is a beauty, and Anna, who resembles her, has grown into a beautiful girl. As I looked at the photo, Mark said, "If only you were more beautiful." What? Excuse me? What do you mean by that? I mean, if you were more beautiful, Sharon would be too. Look at how pretty Anna is. They're only a year apart, but it would be a pity for Sharon to stand next to her. Hey, don't compare Sharon to Anna. Sharon is adorable enough as she is. Yeah, but I wish my kid could be prettier. What did you just say? How dare he? Children inherit genes from their parents. Your genes are responsible too. Maybe I should have married a more beautiful wife. I wish I had a beautiful daughter. You're the worst! I stormed out of the living room, fuming. As I headed down the hallway to take a bath, I was shocked. Sharon? Did you? There stood Sharon. Her eyes filled with tears. There's no doubt about it, Sharon heard the conversation with Mark. Sharon, about what you just heard. It's fine. Good night.
Oh,
Sharon cut off my frantic attempt to explain and returned to her room. When I glanced back, I saw Mark, oblivious to Sharon's presence, still muttering, "Man, I'm jealous. Nicholas really lucked out with a great wife and daughter." The weekend arrived.
hello, long time no see.
Welcome, thank you for coming all the way here. Nicholas's family is already here. With a cheerful smile, my MIL Helen greeted us. The in-laws' house is about an hour's drive from ours. We can't visit often, but the distance helps maintain a good relationship with my in-laws.
Hello, Dot.
Nicholas and his wife greeted us with smiles. Though we don't see each other often, we have a good relationship with them too. Hi Anna, long time no see. You've grown so much. Hi. Anna, who we hadn't seen in a while, had changed a lot from her elementary school days and looked more mature. I greeted her, surprised at her growth, but her blunt response caught me off guard.
Sorry, she's been a bit sullen lately, kind of going through a rebellious or adolescent phase.
Larry apologized with a troubled expression. Anna, who could probably hear, turned away with an expressionless face.
Anna, long time no see.
Sharon happily greeted her, but Anna still didn't respond properly. Nicholas tried to scold her, but she didn't seem to listen. I wonder if this is how quickly they change when they enter middle school. Just then, a voice cut through the slightly heavy atmosphere.
Oh. Long time no see, Anna. You've become so beautiful.
It was Mark, who seemed oblivious to the tension. Though Anna had been cold toward Mark as soon as he said,
You're in middle school now? You look so grown up. Let me give you some spending money as a celebration.
Her face lit up, and she looked at Mark.
Really? Yay, I love you, Mark.
Anna exclaimed with a big smile and hugged him. I hurriedly said,
Hey, wait, we should prepare a proper gift.
But Mark brushed off my hand dismissively and pulled out his wallet.
This isn't about a gift. I'm giving her some pocket money out of my own money.
Geez, women can be so greedy. Greedy.
Anna, don't become an old lady like her, Dot.
Mark glared at me, then quickly turned to Anna with a smile. Anna responded with a similar smirk. Don't worry, Mark. I'll never be like Cynthia.
That's right, Anna. You're beautiful. I wish our Sharon could share some of Anna's beauty.
That's impossible, Mark. I'm blessed by God. While everyone else was taken aback, Mark and Anna were hitting it off.
Anna, how could you say that? Oh, be quiet, Mom. It's true, isn't it? I'm beautiful. Hey, Anna. Dad always says he's proud to have a beautiful daughter. Well, parents always think their kids are cute.
But Mark doesn't seem to think that way, does he? Right, Sharon? Anna said, giving her a smug look. Sharon's eyes welled up with tears. Listen, Anna.
Shut up, Cynthia, you're really annoying. No, I'm not. A father who speaks badly about his daughter is the worst. I'm just telling the truth. Who needs a daughter who treats her parents like dirt? I wish we had a sweet, beautiful daughter like Anna.
Does he think Anna, who is only pretending to be good in front of him, is a good kid? Sharon was on the verge of tears. Seeing his indifference only made me angrier. Even as Nicholas and his wife tried to calm the situation and my in-laws were furious, Mark's frivolous attitude didn't change, and Anna just kept smirking. Then, adding fuel to the fire, the malicious Anna said,
Oh, I wish Mark were my dad.
The room fell silent. Nicholas, in particular, was frozen in place, but Anna didn't notice. She then clung to Mark's arm, saying,
I love you, Mark. Ahaha, Anna is adorable.
As my blood ran cold, I caught a glimpse of Nicholas and his wife, who looked like they were about to erupt like a volcano. Completely oblivious.
All right, let's get something for Anna, who's cuter than my own daughter. I'll buy you anything,
Mark added. Stop making things worse. However, before Nicholas and Larry could explode, Sharon changed the atmosphere. Let's go home. Her face was wet with tears. I'm sorry, Nicholas, Larry. Mom, I want to go home.
Yeah, let's do that.
We couldn't possibly celebrate under these circumstances. We apologized to Nicholas and Larry and left with Ronald. What? You're leaving already?
What a boring bunch. Go on, get out of here. Anna's the only family I have.
Mark's words were a final blow as we left. Sharon silently headed for the entrance, crying. Ronald followed, looking worried. I turned back and gave Mark a sharp glare before leaving the in-laws' house. That brat. I'll never forgive him. Since then, Sharon completely ignored Mark. Ronald also looked at him coldly. Mark continued his superficial attitude.
Anna said she wants me to take her to the amusement park. Even though she's in middle school, she's still such a cute kid. Anna wants a mobile phone, but Nicholas said no. Cold, huh, even though he's her real dad. I'm going to buy it with her tomorrow. I'll pay the monthly bill. She said she wants new clothes. Anna is stylish, you know. Anything looks good on a cute girl, so it's worth giving her presents. So, tomorrow, I'll take Anna shopping.
Every time Mark opened his mouth, it was about Anna. No daughter would want to talk to a father like that. Days passed without any father-daughter conversation until one particular day. Sharon, how about we go to Grandpa's house next weekend?
Really? Yay!
I was relieved to see Sharon smile, as she had been gloomy because of her father. Hearing this, what? Are you going to your parents' place? Mark asked.
No, we're going to your parents.
Huh? Why are you going to my parents' place?
Helen invited us.
Why?
Why do you need to know?
It's my parents' house, isn't it?
It doesn't concern you. We were invited.
I replied coldly and didn't say anything more. Man, you're so cold.
Well, if you're not around, I guess I'll take Anna to the shopping mall or something. Do whatever you want.
I responded coldly to Mark, who kept going out with Anna whether we were there or not, making him frown. While we were having a pleasant time at the in-laws' house, a storm suddenly arrived.
Hey, we're here. Mark? And Anna too.
It was like a storm, with Mark being the wind and Anna being the rain, a full-on storm.
It's not fair for you guys to come to my parents' house without me.
We'll join you, Mark said as he walked in.
Hello there.
Anna followed, wearing a sly smile, her hands full of shopping bags. It seemed she had made Mark buy her a bunch of things again today.
Hey, Mark, what are you doing here without an invitation? Come on, Mom, this is my parents' house. What's wrong with a son coming home? We didn't invite you today. Mom, don't be so strict. Your granddaughter Anna is here too.
Despite Helen's stern attitude, Mark maintained his shallow grin, revealing his audacity. Ignoring our disbelief, Mark and Anna sat in the available seats on the living room sofa. But when they looked at the table, Mark's expression froze.
Huh? What's with the cake?
Indeed, there was a large, beautifully decorated cake in the center of the table. In the middle was a chocolate plaque with writing on it.
Happy birthday, Sharon. What?
Mark looked at Sharon's face in surprise. Sharon was already on the verge of tears.
Wait, is it Sharon's birthday today? Seriously? So you did forget? What? No, of course not. Look, I bought a birthday present.
In a panic, Mark grabbed one of the bags beside him and handed it to Sharon. But then,
Hey, Mark, that's mine. Don't give it to Sharon.
Anna shouted.
What? Anna, be quiet. I bought you plenty of stuff, didn't I? Just one thing. No way. This is all mine. I won't give it to anyone.
As Anna stubbornly refused, Mark was clearly flustered. But did he realize the tension that filled the room? Then, I hate you.
Huh?
Sharon mumbled something, leaving Mark bewildered.
What, Sharon? Don't you like the present from Dad? I hate you.
Sharon shouted, cutting off his words. Then, she grabbed a cup from nearby. Ah, that cup has freshly brewed hot coffee. But I didn't stop her. Sharon threw the cup at Mark, and its contents splashed right over his head.
Hey, it's hot.
It was fine. The coffee was hot but drinkable.
Sharon, what are you doing to your dad? You're not my dad.
Sharon shouted, cutting off Mark's words once again. That's right, let it all out. Spill everything you've been holding back. Sharon had been holding in her feelings. She tried to ignore him so she wouldn't end up hating her father. But he never even noticed.
What are you saying? I'm your dad. The only people I have are Mom, my little brother, and my grandparents. That's it. That's not true. You care more about Anna, who flatters you and gets you to buy her things, than your own daughter, right? Flatter. No, that's not.
Mark hastily looked at Anna, but she avoided his gaze, looking awkward and refusing to meet his eyes.
Dad, or rather, old man. Old man! Anna is your daughter, so you're just an old man to me. Just keep spoiling Anna. Why don't you go live with her? Why on earth would I want to live with him?
Anna shouted.
Anna, don't you love this uncle of yours? You love him enough to go shopping together all the time, right? So, why not live with him?
At that moment, someone suddenly appeared, shocking Anna.
Mom! Dad too!
Yes, standing there were Nicholas and his wife, Anna's parents.
Why are you here? We came to celebrate your cousin Sharon's birthday. I didn't know about that. You told us you were going out with Mark today. So, we decided to come on our own. No way! Anna.
The fact that her parents had abandoned her to attend her cousin's birthday was apparently a shock to Anna. Nicholas called her name sternly, his voice serious.
Whose daughter are you? Huh? Is Mark, who only praises you, never scolds you for doing wrong, doesn't discipline you, and just buys you things, your father? No. Dad only scolds you because he cares about you. He doesn't want you to go down the wrong path. He believes giving you everything you want isn't good, so he only gives you presents on special occasions. If you don't like such a parent, you can leave and live with Mark. No. I don't want that. Then do you know what you should do?
I'm sorry. Mom, I'm sorry too.
And?
Cynthia and Sharon. I'm sorry, really sorry. Anna started crying as she said this. Eventually, she began sobbing uncontrollably. Nicholas and his wife deeply apologized to Sharon and me, and took the still crying Anna home. Silence then spread. Well then, I said, making Mark's shoulders shake. We don't need you anymore.
What? What do you mean, you don't need me?
You probably don't know this since you don't care about us, but I got a job. I'm financially independent now.
That's impossible.
Mark, half crying, looked at the kids. But Sharon glared at him, and Ronald ignored him, engrossed in his book. I'm truly sorry. From now on, I'll prioritize my children and cherish them. Please, please. Please what?
Don't divorce me.
Too bad, the divorce is already decided.
What?
Mark, who had been apologizing, raised his head in surprise at my words. In front of him was the divorce paper I showed him.
No, no, no.
You will fill this out in front of your parents right now. Mark, finally breaking into tears, looked at Sharon, but she was no longer looking at him. She was happily opening the birthday presents from her in-laws. Shocked by her attitude, Mark filled out the divorce paper while crying. After that, we separated. The final decision on the divorce is left to the children, especially Sharon. Sharon has been more cheerful and is really a good kid. I'm so lonely. Being alone is so lonely. I want to live together as a family. Mark called again today, but I ignored it. Why don't you go shopping with Anna again? I said, and he replied.
I can't do that. Nicholas and Dad scolded me a lot, and I'm reflecting on it. So, can't we get back together?
I don't care. We don't need you. This time I said it out loud and hung up the phone. I think I heard him crying and screaming on the other end, but maybe it's just my imagination. Mom, who was that on the phone? Oh, just a wrong number, Sharon.
That's good. I was worried it was that old man.
Sharon still doesn't call Mark Dad. He hurt his teenage daughter, and it's likely he will never be forgiven. Regretting that he can't watch Sharon grow up, he might cry. Am I a bad person for laughing at that thought?
Isn't he cheating on you?
My mom's words stopped time. It was supposed to be a casual chat at Mom's house. But her serious expression sent chills down my spine. Just investigate, she said firmly to me. Pushed by her strong tone, I went home and found an unwelcome truth. There were unfamiliar clothes in the trunk of the car, showing me a side of my husband William that I had never seen before. Once I started suspecting, everything William did seemed suspicious. William quickly checked his phone and left the room, had frequent business trips and overtime, and came home late at night, but this had been happening since we got married. When did he start deceiving me? Who is the other person? What kind of face does he make when he smiles at her? What sweet words does he say to her? Was his kindness to me just to hide his affair? I recalled all of William's actions. He always spoke to me with a smile. He was supposed to be my proud, serious, and kind husband who cared deeply about family.
If you're tired, why don't you take some time for yourself? Let's celebrate our 20th wedding anniversary with the family.
Looking at me happily listening to William's talk, what was he thinking? In the photos in the living room, we look so happy. Were all those smiles fake? I believed in him all this time. For 20 years, we lived in the same house and shared the same time. My limbs felt weak, and I was overwhelmed by a sense of the world turning white. The feelings of 20 years shattered in an instant. I used to look forward to William coming home every day, checking the clock multiple times. But now, I didn't even want him to come home. This was the first time I felt this way in our 20 years of marriage. I felt uncomfortable in my own home. Then the phone rang. Mom, on the other end, spoke slowly.
Make sure he deeply regrets what he's done.
I am Mary, a 45-year-old housewife. My daughter, Jennifer, is a 13-year-old girl who resembles me and is very responsible. She's a bright, kind, and thoughtful girl, and I'm proud of her. She excels in sports and has the skill to compete in state tournaments for her tennis club. I am not very good at sports, so Jennifer must have inherited her athleticism from William. My husband William is a 45-year-old company employee who commutes an hour each day for the sake of our family. He bought a house near Mom's place just for me. And I am grateful for his thoughtfulness. We originally joined the company at the same time, and during the training period, we became friends, meeting for dinner once a month. Normally, William, who had a serious and cool image, would become talkative when he drank, and I found that endearing. In fact, I could hold my liquor better than he could, and William would always sit next to me, leaning slightly on my shoulder as he started to get tipsy. The weight and warmth of his shoulder felt lovely and comforting. 3 years into our employment, many colleagues transferred to other departments, and our dinner gatherings became less frequent. Despite this, our group was known for being particularly close, often coming together for weddings and farewell parties. After the wedding of a colleague I was closest to, I was walking while gazing at the bouquet I received. "Mary, do you want to get married?" And William asked me.
Huh? Do I look like I do? Yeah, you look really happy.
I'm embarrassed, but seeing how happy they looked made me think it would be nice. I want to wear a wedding dress, too. I should find someone soon. William, looking flustered, responded.
Stop looking.
Seeing my stunned expression, William scratched his head, looking down shyly, and began to speak.
I didn't plan to say this today, but I blurted it out.
I thought William looked somewhat like a boy for the first time, in his hurried state. After taking a deep breath, he looked straight at me and continued with a serious expression.
I want to be with you, Mary. If I said this after the wedding, it might seem like I was caught up in the moment, so I wanted to tell you at a different time. I'm sorry. I like you, Mary. Please go out with me.
I was speechless, and seeing this, William continued, looking a bit lost.
You don't have to answer now. Let's go home. Or should we go for a drink? No, let's go home.
Watching him fluster, I found him cute. I felt a sense of fate when he confessed to me on the day I received the bouquet. Let's go home today, but since it's a special day, let's take a picture first. I said. Today? Yeah, today. We both smiled shyly at each other. We went to the observation floor of a nearby skyscraper and took a photo together before heading home. Starting from the photo we took that day, we have always taken a picture together on our anniversaries. I promised myself to never forget how I felt on that day, so I placed the photo in the most noticeable spot in our living room. Over the course of our 20-year marriage, we accumulated more photos than we could display, but I never put away that particular one from that day. This year is our 20th wedding anniversary. Shall we go on a trip? Maybe buy something matching as a keepsake? Mary, is there anything you want? Let's look into it, William suggested. We have held on to the same feelings from that day, never forgetting them. After we got married, William told me.
My ideal is to come home and have you welcome me.
He encouraged me to become a housewife. When Jennifer was born and we started needing more money, I considered working again and discussed it with him. I'll work harder, so please stay at home to keep Jennifer from feeling lonely. He responded. True to his word, William's business trips and overtime increased after our marriage. William was always known for his dedication to work and had a reputation for being earnest within the company. Consequently, he often attended business dinners. Despite his busy schedule, he would take us to places Jennifer and I would enjoy on weekends. Sometimes, he'd say,
I'll take care of Jennifer today, so you can go out and enjoy yourself for a change, Mary.
He even made sure I had free time. I trust William completely and am grateful to him. Friends often express envy over my wonderful husband. I have no complaints. Sorry, I have to work late again today, he texted. What time do you think you'll be home? I asked. I'm not sure yet. I'll let you know when I'm on my way back.
Thank you for your hard work. Take care, I replied.
This was our usual text exchange. William, despite wanting to come home early, was working overtime for the sake of our family. As I covered his meal on the dining table with plastic wrap, Jennifer, fresh out of the shower, started talking to me. Is Dad working late again?
Yes. It's tough for him, isn't it? With all these late nights and dinner meetings, I worry about his health. Today's meal is designed to help him recover from fatigue, so I hope he gets to eat it when he comes home.
This week, he had 3 dinner meetings and 2 late nights. He also had a business trip scheduled for next week. I recently saw on TV that people in their 40s are more prone to health issues. To help him recover from fatigue, I prepared a meal to warm his body. As I started ironing William's suit and shirt for the next day, Mom, can I talk to you? Jennifer spoke up. Next week, is Dad going on a business trip?
Yes, he mentioned going out of town. If you want any souvenirs, just ask him. Okay.
Jennifer's voice sounded unusually subdued. I wondered if something happened at school or if she needed more allowance. When I looked at her, her expression was serious.
Do you think it's really a business trip?
What was she talking about? Had she been watching too many dramas about infidelity? William and I never fought, so what could have prompted Jennifer to imagine such things? It was amusing to see her seriously entertain such thoughts. She's really growing up, I thought. I couldn't help but laugh.
What kind of imagination do you have? Dad works so hard for our family. It's definitely just a business trip.
Unlike me, Jennifer kept a straight face. It's not my imagination. The other day, I overheard Dad on the phone talking about which hotel he'd stay at, and he mentioned a woman named Linda. It sounded plausible, but lacked conviction. Was she trying to shock me?
What are you talking about? Dad is hardly ever alone in this house. I'm always here. That was the day Dad suggested you go out. Remember? You went to the movies, and I went to a friend's game, but it ended early, so I came home and overheard him.
I did go to the movies that day. And I had told William the showtimes, so it was possible. But William, my serious William. Him having an affair? Impossible.
Jennifer, you're going to make Dad sad if you say things like that. He's doing his best for the family. He's going on the trip with James from work. You probably misheard the name.
Jennifer looked dissatisfied with my dismissal and retreated to her room. This weekend, William and I were going to watch Jennifer's tennis match together. Seeing us getting along should clear up her suspicions. I decided not to tell William about Jennifer's doubts to avoid hurting his feelings. That night, William came home late. He had texted, "Don't wait up for me, you'll get sick." But I stayed up, worried.
You're still up. I told you to sleep. But thank you for waiting,
William said when he arrived. His gratitude reassured me that there was no affair. The next day, I went to visit Mom. Since getting married, I've made it a point to see her every Thursday. The main reason is to ensure Mom doesn't feel lonely living by herself, but in truth, as a housewife, spending time with Mom is my best form of relaxation. We usually chat about trivial things, and before I know it, it's time to go home and prepare dinner.
Mom, guess what? Jennifer said she thinks Dad might be having an affair.
I laughed as I brought up the topic. Mom is usually so calm and collected, so I expected her to laugh it off, saying, "William? No way." But to my surprise, she turned serious.
What do you mean? Tell me everything.
Seeing Mom's serious expression, I explained the details. I felt a pang of guilt because the reason Mom lives alone in our family home is due to my dad's affair and their subsequent divorce 20 years ago. Maybe I had brought up some painful memories for her. Even after 2 decades, it's still something that can stir her deeply. I remember how her heart seemed to shatter back then. She lost her appetite and kept losing weight. I worried she might be ill.
I'm not sick, don't worry. I just want to lose some weight before your wedding,
she'd say, always putting on a brave face, never crying or showing her sadness in front of me. My mom was strong. One day, with a look in her eyes I had never seen before, she said to me,
I'm sorry, Mary. I can't stay with your dad any longer.
She looked so resolute, like she had made up her mind to live on her own.
I thought I could hold on until your wedding, but I just can't forgive your dad for his affair. I'm sorry.
She must have struggled with the decision, not wanting to disrupt my wedding plans. The thought of her battling between the pain of staying with Dad and her desire to see me off without sadness breaks my heart.
Don't worry about me,
I managed to say, though I had so much more I wanted to express. I just couldn't find the right words. Mom only told me that Dad had an affair. She never went into details. After he left the house and the divorce was finalized, she cleared out the house, erasing any trace of him. Strangely, I felt more comfortable in the house without Dad around. Then Mom said something unexpected.
Mary, I didn't want to tell you, but I've been suspecting William of having an affair for a while. His behavior reminds me of your father's.
Her words left me speechless.
When I visited your home, I saw William go back to get his wallet, saying he had brought the wrong one. Your father did the same thing, keeping a separate wallet for his meetings with the other woman. I couldn't help but worry.
I knew William had 2 wallets. He said it was to keep his personal and business expenses separate. He used the one I gave him for personal use, so I was sure he couldn't be cheating on me.
When I mentioned to William how tough it must be to go on long business trips, he said, next time, I'd like to take the family with me. If it were for work, sightseeing wouldn't be possible, so saying he wants to go privately next time would make sense. But Mary, your dad used to take us to the same places he went with his lover to make his stories align.
I was supposed to laugh it off, but seeing the serious look on Mom's face made me suddenly anxious. But he is such a serious person. It felt like I was making excuses for myself. Does he leave his mobile phone lying around? Is it ever left in a place where you can see it without any care? Now that she mentioned it, I usually leave mine anywhere, but William always has his with him.
But that's because William is meticulous, and he needs to be reachable for work at all times. There are no telltale signs like the smell of perfume or lipstick on his shirts, and no matter how late it gets, he always comes home by morning.
He couldn't be having an affair. William is a serious and dedicated worker. He always puts the family first and does things to make Jennifer and me happy.
Mary, if it's a mistake, we can laugh about it later. But just this once, check properly. Check his car. Your dad was the same. Careful men don't leave traces in the house. They can hide things in the car and don't need to bring them into the house.
Mom's serious expression made me only able to respond with a hesitant,
Okay.
I offered to drive William to do some shopping for his business trip and said I would fill up the car with gas while he was shopping. I headed to the gas station, pretending to clean the car, and started searching it. I couldn't do this at home because the neighbors might see. Dashboard, nothing. Under the seats, nothing. Trunk, nothing. I lifted the trunk mat just in case and found a black bag behind the spare tire. Inside, there were clothes. Men's clothes in William's size. They were definitely his. But I had never seen these clothes before. They seemed to have been used, but they were not new. They smelled of fabric softener. But not the one we use at home. Everything started to seem suspicious, just as Mom had said. I began to panic, my thoughts swirling around in my head. As I started to think, all of William's actions began to connect to the idea of an affair. His business trips increased right after we got married. Were those trips meant to spend time with his lover? Could he have been cheating on me even before we got married? Did he encourage me to become a housewife so that his affairs at work wouldn't be noticed? Was the time he gave me for myself, as Jennifer mentioned, actually for spending time with his lover? Were the various places he took us to, as Mom said, the same places he took his lover? The actions I had considered William's kindness now seemed to take on a more sinister meaning. We talked about celebrating our 20th anniversary. The thought that his heart was not in it made me feel as if a hole had been drilled in the middle of my chest, filling me with emptiness. I treasured the photos from the day he proposed to me, but now even those moments felt tainted. It was almost time to return to William, but I couldn't muster the strength to move. Just then, my phone rang. With trembling hands, I looked at the screen and saw that it was Mom calling. I answered with a shaking voice.
How did it go?
She asked.
I think he's having an affair, but why?
Why? Mom, sensing my turmoil, spoke firmly.
Listen, take a deep breath.
I took a deep breath, feeling the tightness in my chest ease a bit. Mom continued after hearing me exhale.
Now, you're going to go back to William. But don't show anything on your face. Keep your posture straight and act normal. When you get home, come to my place. Understand?
The authority in Mom's voice made me automatically respond. Yes. Strength returned to my previously trembling limbs. I would do as Mom instructed. I returned to William.
Thanks for getting the gas,
William said with his usual smile, but it was painful to look at him now.
You're welcome. Did you get everything you needed for your trip? Yes, I got some good things.
Those things were probably for his lover. That's how he's been deceiving me all this time.
I'm sorry, but I need to go to Mom's house. I found a coffee she might like and I want to bring it to her right away. Sure, that's fine. I have to prepare for my trip anyway, so I'll be at home waiting. I'll pick up something for dinner on my way back.
Right now, I didn't feel like cooking for William. When I arrived at Mom's house, she was waiting anxiously. The moment I saw her, tears started streaming down my face. Mom hugged me as I cried.
Are you calm now?
She asked gently. When I answered, yes.
Then look at me,
she said. When I looked at Mom, she had the same determined look in her eyes as she did back then.
No more crying. We're going to make him regret his mistakes.
She placed something in my hand as she spoke. The next day, William left for his business trip with his usual smile.
I'll do my best.
And he said. I replied with my usual.
Do your best.
As I saw him off. I felt anger rising within me, but I kept my expression neutral until the right moment. I had been deceived for 20 years. It wouldn't be wrong for me to deceive him this one last time. A few days later, William returned from his trip in a cheerful mood, humming a tune.
I'm so tired.
He wanted words of sympathy.
You must be exhausted. Was it tough?
I decided to keep talking as usual. William said,
It was really tough. James got drunk and I had to take care of him all night, so I couldn't contact you. Sorry about that. I still have the smell of James' alcohol on me, so I'm going to take a shower.
With that, he disappeared into the bathroom. While William was in the shower, I made the final preparations. I placed the evidence photos of William's affair one by one in the hallway leading from the bathroom to the living room. On the living room table, I spread out dozens of photos. I heard the sound of William coming out of the bathroom. I sat in the living room, waiting for him. I could hear the sound of him picking up the photos as he approached. When William finally entered the living room, I spoke the words I had prepared.
William, you're having an affair, aren't you?
His face turned pale, and he was speechless.
Didn't you hear me? You're having an affair, right?
I spoke a little louder and slower. William took a deep breath, regained his smile, and calmly replied,
No, I'm not having an affair. There's no way I would do that.
Even in this situation, he tried to laugh it off.
My mom introduced me to the detective who helped her during Dad's affair. And guess what? They managed to get so many clear photos so easily.
I said this with a smile. I had decided that I would say it with a smile no matter what. The contact information Mom had given me the day before William's trip was for this detective. Mom had maintained a long relationship with the detective after the incident with Dad, so they conducted the investigation at a very reasonable price.
Your affair partner is someone from the company, right?
I know.
How did you find out so much? She's our subordinate. We used to be on good terms, didn't we? But not as good as you two,
I said mockingly, watching William freeze. The affair partner was a subordinate at the company, Linda, whose name Jennifer had heard before. I was acquainted with Linda as well. According to the detective's report, during their trip, they talked about,
It's almost our 20th anniversary,
suggesting that their relationship indeed started before our marriage. Once I realized the affair had been going on since before our marriage, my feelings for William began to cool. Thanks to that, I could speak calmly.
I've prepared the divorce papers, so please sign them. Jennifer and I will be staying at Mom's house.
During William's trip, I had moved out our belongings, and I had instructed Jennifer to go straight to Mom's house today. Finally noticing that even Jennifer's belongings were gone, William began to panic visibly.
Jennifer's home is here. Mary, you're a housewife. You can't raise a child on your own. So, I won't divorce you. Absolutely not.
Don't you know?
Jennifer told me. It's obvious she'd notice if you were making calls at home. You're the one who hurt Jennifer. I won't forgive anyone who hurts Jennifer, not even you. Jennifer packed her things and left on her own. So, we're not coming back here. Goodbye. This is a lie. I won't divorce you. Jennifer is my daughter. I will get her back.
William, refusing to accept the divorce, raised his voice for the first time.
Wait! Give Jennifer back! I won't divorce you.
But I left the house without looking back. William kept calling me after I left, but I wasn't in the mood to talk, so I didn't answer. The next night, William suddenly showed up at Mom's house. Mom agreed to let him in on the condition that she would be present. William apologized to me. I'm sorry. I truly regret not considering your feelings, Mary. Please, give me another chance. I couldn't believe the words of someone who had lied to me just yesterday, returning from an affair trip while humming a tune.
But it's been 20 years with Linda, right? That means it started before we got married. You've been betraying me all this time, and Linda is also married. With Linda, it was just a fling.
Wow.
A pretty long fling.
It was surprising that no one at the company had noticed until now. This was the first time I saw William looking so weak. However, my heart, which had trusted and been betrayed for 20 years, no longer felt any sympathy for him. Even now, William still seemed to think I would forgive him.
I realize now that I've taken advantage of you for a long time, Mary. But I regret it.
I need you. William, uncharacteristically, continued to plead earnestly.
Today at work, rumors about the affair were already spreading. It's awkward with Linda, and if things continue like this, both of us might have to resign. Everything I've worked for could disappear.
So that's what it was about. He didn't want to reconcile with me out of love. He was afraid of losing his job and status. And he was worried about Linda too. The rumors likely started because I had consulted with a former colleague to gather evidence of William's trip. I was even more annoyed by William, who was more concerned about his own protection and Linda than about sincerely apologizing to me. As I tried to calm my emotions, Mom, who had been listening quietly until now, spoke up.
You need to atone for your actions. When you hurt someone, you get the same pain in return. You betrayed my precious daughter. I will never forgive you.
Mom was strong in times like these. And I am her daughter. Thinking of my strong mom, I said firmly,
I am getting a divorce.
If you don't agree, I will take it to court. Even after that, William kept coming to Mom's house and calling repeatedly, but neither Mom nor I responded. One day, William came to Mom's house and ran into Jennifer by chance. Seeing Jennifer's face, he said,
I'm relieved to see you. Come home with Dad?
But Jennifer shook her head firmly and said,
I'm living with Mom. I'm not going to Dad's house. I'll be here to support Mom so I can forget about you. So, don't come to see us anymore.
Not long after, William, wanting to avoid a divorce trial, agreed to the divorce. Since the cause of the divorce lay with William, I got custody of Jennifer. I demanded a settlement and child support from both Linda and William. Apparently, Linda's husband was unaware of the affair. My demand for a settlement revealed the affair, causing a huge dispute. Linda's husband's family were the owners of a company that did business with William's company, leading to a significant scandal. Like William, Linda pleaded not to be divorced, but her husband was horrified by the 20-year affair and divorced her. Linda's husband, like me, demanded a settlement from both Linda and William. The scandal affected the company's operations, making it difficult for both of them to stay, and they resigned voluntarily. After that, William and Linda, having no income and facing large financial demands, began to argue about money. Both ended up taking part-time jobs to repay their debts, leading to a difficult life. As their situation worsened, they fought more, ultimately blaming each other and eventually breaking up. As for me, being a housewife, I worried about finding a job, but thanks to an introduction from a supportive colleague, I secured a stable job. Now, I live with Mom and Jennifer at Mom's house. Jennifer, perhaps taking after my mom, has become dependable.
Mom, let me help you,
she says, doing housework or checking on me with,
Mom, are you okay?
From the moment she suspected William's affair, she had decided to stay with me if we divorced. When I told her about the divorce and when we started living with Mom, she showed no signs of shock. Instead, she looked relieved. Sometimes, she would say, I'm going out with Grandma, and come back with a cake they had picked out together. For Mother's Day, she prepared gifts for both me and Mom, showing what a kind daughter she is. Our life together, the three of us, passes by calmly and peacefully, and I am very happy. It is embarrassing to say, but Emily has no father, is poor, and uneducated, such an incompetent person. But our family will properly educate her. At my and my husband Mike's wedding reception, my mother-in-law Megan took the stage under the guise of giving a speech and said this into the microphone. She smeared on a thick layer of lipstick, curling her lips into an unpleasant smile. Our family runs a business. A woman raised in a single-parent household? Who knows what kind of disorderly life she led? We can't have someone of such low quality as our daughter-in-law tarnishing our name. Her spiteful words, so out of place at such a joyous occasion, caused the room to buzz with unease. Fear of my precious wedding being ruined turned my body cold. My father had passed away when I was very young, and I had grown up supporting my mother Amanda as an only child. She had worked tirelessly day and night to put me through high school, and now I was a respectable working adult. There was nothing to be ashamed of, and anger surged from the pit of my stomach at the way she spoke. Moreover, she shouldn't have known about my family background. I felt a great fear at not knowing where this information had leaked from.
No way! This is awful! Why?
Overwhelmed by various shocks, I couldn't hold back my tears at what should have been a celebratory event. Sitting beside me, Mike was pale and frozen. Megan had been obsessed with Mike and had tried to interfere with our relationship, which had exasperated him. He had spoken to her directly many times before. But he probably never imagined she would drop such a bombshell at our wedding. The atmosphere of the venue, which had been illuminated by a luxurious chandelier and decorated with vibrant flowers, now seemed severely tainted. At that moment, loud footsteps echoed. Looking up, I saw my mother heading towards the stage. Usually gentle and calm, she now wore an expression hardened by quiet anger. She ascended the stage, glaring at Megan. Then, she forcibly took the microphone from Megan's hand. Megan, who was still processing the situation, looked shocked as my mother spoke into the microphone in a low voice.
The one of poor quality is your company. That company, we have decided to put out of business.
My name is Emily. I am a 31-year-old office worker. Mike, 3 years my junior, and I met at the same company. I was drawn to Mike's honest and gentle nature, and he said he was attracted to my hard-working attitude. His parents run a natural foods import and sales business, making Mike the son of a company president. It was said that Mike's parents sent him to work at a company other than their own to gain social experience. The company I work for is run by my mother and also deals in health and natural foods. In other words, they are competitors in the same industry. My father passed away when I was young, and my mother now runs the company as its president. I work as a systems engineer at this company and began working closely with Mike, teaching him about app development. Unaware of his own good looks, he was secretly popular within the company. However, he had little experience with relationships and was awkward, making an effort to find topics of conversation whenever we went for lunch. His efforts were endearing, and one day, with great determination, he said, If you aren't seeing anyone right now, would you consider dating me?" His earnest confession was charming, and I was touched by Mike's sincerity. I, too, had little experience with relationships, being focused on my career, and it was the first time anyone had confessed to me so straightforwardly. Despite my initial confusion, my affection for him outweighed it, and I agreed to date him. He was popular among the female employees, so we decided to keep our relationship a secret at work. Thus began our quiet and fresh relationship, but soon dark clouds loomed over our days. During dates with him, his smartphone would ring frequently. Each time, he would step away to take the call and then return. Given his position, it seemed unlikely he was getting continuous work calls, and I couldn't imagine he was cheating with another woman. Feeling suspicious, I asked, "You keep taking calls. Is everything okay? Is something wrong?" Mike looked a bit uncomfortable but answered. From his demeanor, I could tell he wasn't lying.
"It's my mom. She wants me to update her on everything we're doing together." "What? Seriously?"
Mike's mother's control and his apparent lack of resentment towards it surprised me. I couldn't help but raise my voice in shock. While I didn't know how he was talking to her, there was nothing I needed to hide. Still, our time together was private, and it didn't feel good to have everything reported to his mother. Although it was hard to interfere with another family's rules, I knew I had to address it if I was going to marry Mike someday. Cautiously, I said, "That might be a bit of a problem. It's hard to relax with frequent calls, and I don't like having every detail of our time together shared. Doesn't it bother you?" "That might be a bit of a problem. It's hard to relax with frequent calls, and I don't like having every detail of our time together shared. Doesn't it bother you?" He looked at me with a troubled expression. Is it really that strange? It seemed he had hardly ever talked about relationships with friends his age. He was puzzled, but I disliked something he had taken for granted.
"Yes, it is. Sorry, but could you avoid taking calls while we're together? If you must talk to your mom, could you do it after we part?" "Not take calls,"
Mike repeated slowly, as if hearing the words for the first time, and his eyes widened in surprise. I wondered what kind of life he had led and what sort of relationship he had with his parents. The thought made me slightly anxious about our future. "Yes. Everyone misses calls when they're busy and can call back later."
"Oh, that makes sense. That way, I can focus on our date."
He nodded deeply, his eyes sparkling. It was as if he had just learned, for the first time in his life, that he didn't have to answer his mother's calls.
"I'm nervous, but thank you for telling me."
Although it seemed obvious to me, he was excited and kept thanking me repeatedly. Blushing, he turned off his smartphone. After that, there were no more calls interrupting our time together. We spent a lot of time talking, undisturbed by anyone. And for the next few weeks, Mike made it a point to turn off his smartphone while with me.
"It's really nice not having the phone ring,"
he said with amazement. Is this what being the son of a company president is like? I wondered. Despite some concerns, I continued our relationship, as Mike was genuinely honest and sincere.
"Yes. Let's keep our time together just for us."
I smiled, and he nodded. But around this time, something strange started happening. One day, while walking with Mike in town, I constantly felt someone watching us. No matter where we went, the same footsteps followed. I was certain we were being tailed.
"Hey, is someone following us?"
I asked Mike, who then stiffened.
"This is creepy. Let me handle it."
I told him and then turned around at the next corner to confront whoever was following us. Then, the person who had been following us appeared easily. It was a middle-aged woman carrying a bag with a prominent brand logo. Her heavy makeup and sunglasses suggested she was trying to hide her identity.
"Excuse me. You've been following us, haven't you?"
I confronted her. She twisted her lips, painted in bright red lipstick, into a sneer.
"So, you're Emily?
You're quite plain, aren't you?" Hearing this insult from a stranger made me instantly angry, and then Mike turned around at the sound of the voice. In that moment, he exclaimed in surprise.
Mom, what are you doing here? Why are you following us? What? Your mom!
It was my turn to be shocked. The heavily made-up woman in front of me was Mike's mother, Megan. The woman Mike called his mother took off her sunglasses, revealing her face, and smiled nastily.
Mike, you haven't been answering my calls on your days off lately. You used to update me on your dates. So I followed you because I was worried.
What has that woman been teaching you? Her obsession with her son was so strong that she resorted to stalking him. And her harsh words directed at me were unbelievable, especially coming from someone I had just met. I felt my blood rush to my head and stepped forward to confront her.
Following us secretly is inappropriate. Weekends are private time, even for family. There's nothing suspicious about us, so please stop.
She looked surprised and then put on a deliberately troubled expression.
How rude. I'm his mother. What's wrong with a parent worrying about their child? He's my precious only son, and I can't have him dating an unsuitable woman.
I didn't back down and tried to reason with Megan.
Don't you trust Mike? That's not caring, it's just controlling. I work in the same company as him and live a serious life. If you understand, please stop following us.
Perhaps taken aback by my outburst, Megan pouted like a child and left while mumbling something. Watching her walk away with slumped shoulders was somewhat pathetic, but spying on our dates was going too far. As the tension released, I let out a big sigh. Mike, standing beside me, grabbed my shoulder and looked at me with shining eyes.
Thank you. It's amazing that you stood up to my mom. It's nothing. I just said what was necessary. I'm glad she left. But her obsession is a bit much.
As I looked down, Mike hunched his shoulders too.
Yes, my mom has the strongest influence in our family. She can't stand not knowing everything about us, and we've always just accepted that.
I knew Mike was the son of a rival company's president. Megan might be the type who needs to control both the company and the family. That night, Mike thanked me repeatedly for confronting his mother and then proposed to me.
I've always been frustrated with my mom. She knows everything about my private life, and I thought that was normal. But you made me realize I didn't like it. Thank you. With your intelligence and strength, I feel like my life can be freer.
His sunny smile lifted my spirits as well. I'm not as remarkable as Mike thinks. But if marrying Mike leads to happiness, I want to build a future with him. Yet, I still had concerns.
Thank you. I want to spend my life with you too. But I'm worried about your mother. Marriage involves both families, and I'm not sure how well I'll get along with your family.
Mike took my hand and made a promise.
I'm sorry to worry you. My mom is strong-willed, and she might be overbearing in the future. But no matter what, I'll always be on your side.
His clear promise reassured me, and I nodded. When you have concerns about your future mother-in-law, the biggest worry is that your husband will side with her. But if Mike promised to support me, I felt I could handle it.
Okay. Thank you. Let's take care of each other from now on.
And so, we officially became engaged. The first thing we did was inform my mother. The day before, Mike had stopped by his parents' house for some reason, but it didn't affect our visit to my family. We took the bus to my parents' house, which wasn't far away, and my mother warmly welcomed Mike.
Emily has always worried me. She's been working so hard, and I was a bit concerned. But meeting you has been wonderful. From now on, live for your own happiness.
My mother, looking apologetic, blessed us with a big smile. I had told her in advance that Mike was the son of another company's president, but it didn't seem to be an issue at all. Following this, I told Mike about being raised in a single-parent household, and how my father had died in a traffic accident at work when I was young. Family background can significantly impact marriage. The thought of Mike breaking off our engagement upon learning this made me tremble as I waited for his response. He listened to my story with a sad expression throughout and then supported my back.
You've been through so much and worked so hard. From now on, I'll be here for you. Let's be happy together.
His words brought tears of relief. Mike wiped away my tears, and my mother watched us warmly. With him, I felt I could spend my future in peace. Thus, our visit to my family ended. And later, the day came to visit Mike's parents. Yes, the house with his mother, Megan. As expected, Megan remained in a bad mood the entire time. Even at home, she wore heavy makeup and a sweater with a large brand logo.
I need to get back to work as soon as this is over.
So let's keep it short, she said coldly, placing the coffee roughly on the table. Sure, a president's work is busy. But there are better ways to say that. At the very least, my mother, also a president, never treats guests rudely, whether at work or at home.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
I apologized superficially.
Unlike your laid-back company, we're constantly working to expand our business. We cut costs to the bone, increase sales, and take on new ventures. I'm the one managing and controlling everything.
Of course, Megan knew my mother was the president of a rival company. That's why she made such sarcastic remarks. Megan's business acumen might be impressive, but that doesn't mean we're slacking off. Our company's policy is to build trust steadily by valuing employees and customers. Mike's father, Joseph, was also present but only smiled wryly and sipped his coffee. Apparently, as Mike said, no one else had a say in Megan's presence.
Well, let's put work aside. This is a happy occasion,
Joseph managed to say with difficulty. Megan glanced at him briefly and then started attacking me again as if she hadn't heard him.
So? Mike is our only son. Are you planning to support our future president? Or are you going to stay at your company for the rest of your life?
Megan sat on an armchair opposite me, looking down at me from her grand position.
That's right. For now, I'll continue working at my current company, but I do want to support Mike. I expect there will be times when I need to focus on pregnancy and childbirth, so can we discuss my career later?
I made this request. It's understandable that having their son's wife working for a rival company wouldn't sit well. However, I still had a strong desire to work hard at my mother's company. At the same time, it's true that my career plans after pregnancy and childbirth were uncertain. Considering various factors, I asked to leave it undecided for now. Megan laughed derisively at me and lit a cigarette on the spot. Fine, do as you please for now.
Just don't tarnish our company's name.
Then, Mike, who was sitting next to me, leaned forward.
Mom, don't worry. Once I finish my current job, I'll definitely return to your company and contribute. Emily is very diligent and hardworking, so she'll manage both work and family well. We'll support each other and be happy. Please, take care of us.
Megan remained silent and sullen for a while before she reluctantly said, Fine.
Mike, remember your duty as our successor and do it well.
With those words, Megan ended the conversation. I didn't bring up the fact that I was raised by a single mother at this meeting. Mike had told me beforehand that family backgrounds shouldn't affect our marriage. Probably, he anticipated that Megan wouldn't remain quiet if she knew. I appreciated his consideration and focused on discussing our commitment to marriage and the future, convincing Megan. After Megan fell silent, Joseph shifted the conversation to the specifics of the wedding. We need to decide on the wedding date. We'll suggest locations and a guest list so you can handle the details. I struggled to keep from making a displeased face. In truth, I didn't want a big wedding. I didn't have many acquaintances to invite, and more interaction with Megan would be required if we held a large event. If possible, I wanted to keep my distance from Megan. Whether he understood my feelings or not, Mike spoke to Joseph. Do we really need a big reception? It's a lot of work, and I'd be fine with just family. At that moment, Megan raised her voice.
What are you talking about? Not having a proper reception would be disgraceful for the son of a company president. You need to publicly celebrate your marriage with all our employees and business partners. It's ridiculous that you don't understand this. I'm really worried now.
Her voice grew more intense. To calm her down, I responded firmly. Understood. We'll have a reception. We'll make sure it properly highlights your company. Though I wasn't enthusiastic, I couldn't risk upsetting Megan further. I suppressed my true feelings and showed enthusiasm for the reception. Mike, are you okay with this?
Yes, but are you sure? Yes. We have people we want to invite too, and if we can handle the details, let's do it.
Thus, the discussion about the wedding at Mike's parents' house ended. I still had concerns about how things would go with them, especially Megan, but I hoped to manage somehow. I've handled tough meetings at work many times, so accommodating others' wishes and finding common ground is something I'm good at. I want to handle both work and family smoothly. A few weeks later, we received potential venues and hurriedly prepared for the wedding. Mike's side planned to invite many employees and acquaintances, so I hastily consulted my mother and increased our guest list. There were a few minor disputes, like the order of speeches with Megan, but nothing escalated into a major issue, and the wedding day approached. A few months later, the wedding day arrived. I arrived at the venue hours before the ceremony, changed into my dress in the waiting room, and had my makeup and hair done. Looking at myself in the mirror, I couldn't help but smile, thinking I didn't look bad. Although most of the wedding details were decided by Mike's family, I insisted on wearing a dress of my own choosing, and I went to the final fitting alone. The flowing mermaid line dress beautifully accentuated my figure, and I couldn't wait for my mother, friends, and Mike to see it. As I was enjoying my happy feelings, she suddenly burst into the waiting room. She entered without knocking, with force. Her face was twisted in anger.
Emily, you changed the dress I picked out, didn't you?
She immediately blamed me.
I chose a cute one for you, but you changed it to something mature. What were you thinking?
Being criticized for my beautiful dress made me feel uncomfortable. However, I was calm at that moment, so I managed to smile.
Sorry. Mike said this one suits me better.
I wasn't lying. When I decided to change the dress design, I consulted Mike and got his approval. He also told me this one suited me better. Megan looked annoyed and said,
I see. Just don't make any more unnecessary changes, and don't embarrass us during the ceremony.
Then left, slamming the door. Relieved that it didn't escalate further, I sighed in relief. The wedding should be for the bride and groom. Yet, the venue, the details, everything was decided by Mike's family, and now my dress choice was being criticized. It felt so stifling. Still, it's my wedding day. I can't have the bride looking gloomy. I looked at myself in the mirror again to lift my spirits, then headed to the venue. The spacious venue was filling up with guests. Relatives, colleagues, superiors, subordinates, business partners, friends, the number kept increasing, eventually exceeding 100 people. Of course, Megan, Joseph, and my mother were there. Despite the nerves, the ceremony proceeded smoothly. We entered arm in arm, and the host gave a flattering speech, picking out only the best parts of our backgrounds. Slides of our memories played, and we cut the wedding cake. Naturally, Mike was moved by my wedding dress and told me I was the most beautiful woman in the world. During the reception, friends congratulated us and took many photos. Everyone praised my carefully chosen dress, which made me truly happy. Then, towards the end of the ceremony, it was time for the family speeches. The first speech was to be given by Megan, representing the groom's family. Megan, in her heavy makeup and high-end brand suit, looked more like a ghost than anything else. Standing on the stage, Megan delivered the usual congratulatory phrases for our marriage. Receiving applause from over 100 guests, Megan looked satisfied. Then Megan paused, took a breath, and with her lips smeared in bright red lipstick, she gave a nasty smile. The next words Megan spoke took my breath away.
Embarrassingly, Emily is fatherless, poor, uneducated, and such an incompetent, dirty woman, but our family will properly educate her.
Her voice, amplified by the microphone, filled the large venue.
Our family runs a company. Who knows what kind of disordered life a woman raised in a single-parent household led? We can't have someone of such low quality as our daughter-in-law tarnishing our name.
Her loud words were directed at me, her eyes terrifyingly narrowed. I felt a chill of fear run down my spine. The luxurious chandeliers hanging from the ceiling and the various flowers densely decorating the venue. The festive and glamorous atmosphere suddenly lost its color. Megan's spiteful words caused a buzz of unease in the audience. Why? My body turned cold as my precious wedding was being ruined. My mother and I had supported each other and worked hard to get here. She had sent me to high school, and I had studied programming at a vocational school afterward, becoming skilled enough to be entrusted with app development at work and eventually taking on leadership responsibilities. My mother ran her company while raising me, always calm and well-respected. There was nothing shameful about us. The derogatory remarks made me furious from the bottom of my heart. How did she know about my family? I hadn't told her. The fear of not knowing where the information had leaked from gripped me. This can't be true. It's awful. Overwhelmed by various shocks, I lowered my head and tears fell at what should have been a joyous occasion. Sitting beside me, Mike was also pale and frozen. He hadn't expected such a bombshell to be dropped at our wedding either. How can I restore the atmosphere? I need to think, but my mind isn't working. Seconds felt like an eternity to me. Then, I heard the loud sound of footsteps. Looking up, I saw my mother walking towards the stage. Her usually gentle and calm demeanor was replaced by a hard expression of quiet anger. She climbed the stage, glaring at Megan. Then, she forcibly took the microphone from Megan. Megan, still processing the situation, looked shocked as my mother spoke into the microphone in a low voice.
The one of poor quality is your company. Our company has decided to put yours out of business.
Those words caused the already buzzing venue to become even more chaotic. My mother continued speaking with a dignified presence.
As mentioned earlier in the introductions, Emily works at a company I run. Our company's restructuring efforts have left your company with no strength to continue.
As she spoke, Megan glanced at Mike. Looking a bit uncomfortable, he took the microphone from my mother. We didn't expect to discuss this at the wedding, but our company's policy of cutting costs to the bone and increasing profits led to excessive employee workloads. The atmosphere in the venue shifted again. The groom's company affiliates looked down, and my friends were surprised.
I repeatedly asked my mother to improve the working conditions that violated the law, but she wouldn't listen, saying it was necessary to expand the company. When I consulted Emily, her mother had just started a business reform, so she headhunted almost all of our company's employees. And they all agreed.
Megan's face turned pale, not from makeup but from shock. Her face twisted with surprise and humiliation, making her look even more monstrous.
That's a lie. It can't be true. All employees resigning is impossible. I, the president, would know if it were true, so it must be a lie.
My mother responded firmly to her. You, as the president, haven't properly kept track of your employees. We've already secured the approval of your HR manager, who will also be joining us. Despite overworking her employees day and night, Megan hadn't bothered to learn their faces or names, and she had long since lost their trust, even from her HR manager. Everything had been arranged without her knowledge. Trembling, Megan screamed in a high-pitched voice.
Stop saying ridiculous things. I get it. You're embarrassed and bitter because you don't have a husband. That's why you're insulting me at this important occasion.
My mother, looking exasperated, calmly said to Megan, That's not true. You are the one who tried to ruin this ceremony first.
That's not true. I was just trying to properly educate this girl, who grew up in a fatherless household, unrefined and unintelligent, with no proper upbringing, to be a suitable future wife for the president.
At that point, Joseph approached. Standing between Megan and my mother, he tried to calm the situation. Now, both of you, let's stop this. This is a joyous occasion. We can discuss company matters later. What Joseph said was reasonable, and both Megan and my mother fell silent with sullen expressions. As they started to return to their seats, a man suddenly appeared near the stage.
We are also responsible for not addressing the illegal labor practices sooner. But Megan and Joseph, no one can excuse your embezzlement.
It was Nicholas, an executive at Megan's company, who spoke in a low voice. He was the person handling HR mentioned earlier. Joseph looked shocked and glared at Nicholas with a face twisted like a demon. Megan ground her teeth with a terrifying expression. The accounting department reported every month that the company's books didn't match. Even though sales were up and costs were down, the profits didn't add up. The president always skipped meetings for business trips, so you might not have known. Last month, we discovered on security cameras that you were taking company funds. This caused the audience's murmurs to reach a peak.
Embezzlement? I can't believe it.
Such voices were clearly audible from various places. My mother had also heard about the embezzlement while headhunting Megan's company's employees. She hadn't intended to bring it up here, but she had informed each employee individually. She shouted with a red face.
Stop saying nonsense. Do you have any idea how hard I work to increase the company's profits? Enough already.
Her shrill scream was the last straw, and the reception was ultimately canceled. My in-laws fled to the waiting room. The host hurriedly announced the cancellation, and the guests left disappointed. I could only apologize to a few friends and promise to see them again. Then, Mike, my mother, and I went to the waiting room where my in-laws were hiding. The door wasn't locked, so we opened it and immediately saw their devastated faces. Mike was the first to speak. Mom, it was supposed to be a wonderful reception. I'm really disappointed. It was your idea to have this reception in the first place. Despite his words, they said nothing. I approached them and looked them in the eyes as I asked.
I didn't tell you about my family, especially that my father is not around. How did you find out?
She glared up at me and confessed the reason.
The day before Mike went to report to Emily's family, I called him to our house. That's when I put a bug in his bag. What? No way!
Mike exclaimed in surprise. Thinking back, her behavior had been suspicious since she followed us. This person would do anything, including planting a bug, to control her son. We should have been more cautious when she called Mike to her house before the greeting day. Mike, I'm sorry. I should have been more careful.
That's not it.
Mike firmly stopped me as I tried to speak.
Emily did nothing wrong. It was I who should have been more cautious then.
Despite the situation, I felt tears welling up from the joy of Mike defending me. And those tears turned into tears of fear. Megan's relentless obsession with Mike. The stalking during our dates. And now, even planting a bug in his bag to spy on our family, this is just too much. No matter how careful I am, and even if Mike stands by me, I can't live in peace if this continues. If we get married and start our life together, she might secretly install surveillance cameras all over our place. I can't endure a life like that. As I trembled in fear, my mother, who was with us, spoke.
Neither of you did anything wrong. It's you who's gone too far. I understand being concerned about your child. But they have their own privacy too. What you're doing is a violation of their human rights.
My mother spoke in a calm yet strong tone. Megan glared up at her, continuing to spit venomous words. Don't act all high and mighty. You tricked our employees to benefit your own company. It's true what they say about people from incomplete families being somehow flawed. My mother didn't back down and retorted.
You're the flawed one. Your abnormal obsession with Mike, your vile words against Emily during your speech, I won't forgive any of it.
My mother never backed down. In place of my late father, she threw herself into her business. Yet, she never forgot to shower me with love. Now, she was genuinely angry for my sake. I felt a deep respect for my strong, kind mother. As Megan and my mother glared at each other, Mike stepped in.
I agree entirely with Amanda. I'm not a child anymore. I don't need your surveillance. You ruined our wedding with your prejudice and malice. You hurt Emily deeply. I can't forgive you. From today, I'm cutting ties with both you and Dad.
She looked shocked, tears welling up in her eyes.
Why? I was only worried about you. I wanted you to live a proper life. Is that so wrong?
Mike didn't waver and denied her.
Even if your concern was genuine, your methods are wrong. As for the company, neglecting employee management and welfare for cost cutting, and the embezzlement, I can't forgive it as a working professional. Mom, you always have conspicuous high-end bags and clothes, but weren't those bought with embezzled money? No. I'm the president. It's normal to earn enough to buy such things. Even so, the mismatched company books and surveillance footage are facts. It's over. We're no longer family. I won't inherit the company either. I'm cutting ties and marrying Emily.
Faced with her son's ultimatum, her face was streaked with tears. Her heavy makeup smeared, making her look grotesquely disheveled.
Please, don't say that. I'll manage the company properly. I'll resolve the embezzlement issues. I'll aim for a sound business from now on. I'll stop monitoring you. You're our only son. Please don't leave us.
Joseph, sitting next to Megan, joined her plea.
That's right. We may have been a bit lax, but cutting ties is too extreme. Go home and think it over calmly.
Even with both of them pleading, Mike remained resolute.
No, this isn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. When I found out about the stalking and embezzlement, I decided to cut ties when I got married. I've already discussed it with Emily and Amanda. It's final. We'll talk through our lawyers from now on. Goodbye.
His declaration was firm. His posture was straight, a stark contrast to when he couldn't even think of ignoring Megan's calls. I felt a sense of reliance on him, and I knew from the bottom of my heart that marrying him was the right choice. We quickly changed our clothes, apologized to the host and staff, and left the venue, leaving the still distraught couple in the waiting room. After that, Mike successfully severed ties with his parents. At the same time, he looked forward to our new life together with excitement. I also heard from Mike that his parents were being tried for embezzlement. Apparently, his accusation about them buying brand name items with embezzled money was correct. They had squandered the company's money on expensive purchases and trips, and even incurred debts. According to the executive who exposed them at the wedding, the company's finances were in such a mess that the books couldn't be publicly shown, leading to a major scandal. They were sentenced to prison, and both are now serving their sentences. With all the employees headhunted and the CEO arrested, the company, of course, went bankrupt. The huge debt left behind will now be repaid by Joseph and Megan. Afterward, Mike officially started working at my mother's company. Of course, he remained in the same department, working alongside me. We promised to build trust and maintain a good relationship both at work and in our private lives. To celebrate Mike's new job, his transition, and our marriage, my mother, Mike, and I had a meal at our favorite delicious restaurant. The day was filled with lively conversations about work and trivial matters, confirming the bond we would share as a family from now on.
A lot has happened, but I'm really glad to see you both so happy now. That's what matters most to me. And remember, honesty and sincerity are paramount in both work and family. I know you two will be fine, but just don't forget that.
My mother said jokingly with a glass of wine in her hand. She looked cheerful yet dependable. Beside her, Mike, who had matured significantly over the past few months, nodded with a big smile. Seeing the two of them, I vowed to cherish them forever. Later, my mother expertly managed the company, which had seen a significant increase in employees, boosting sales and expanding to open a new branch the following year. At home, Mike and I got along well, and at work, we took on the responsibility of the company's system management as a trusted duo, earning great trust from our colleagues. Someday, we might have a child together. That would surely bring even more joy to my mother. With such thoughts in mind, we continue to lead happy, fulfilling days filled with smiles both at work and at home.
Taking care of you is too much work. I want a divorce. I want my freedom.
As soon as I ended up in a wheelchair, that's what my husband started saying. After being together for over 40 years, I can't believe he would say something like that to me. He's a henpecked husband and stubborn, and I have plenty of complaints about him. But after over 40 years, I thought we were family. How could he say something like that? Someday, he'll regret letting go of a wife who did everything for him. My name is Anne, and I'm 67 years old. I want baby soft skin again. Is it too late? No, my heart is still young, so it should be okay. I can say my heart is young now, but I was once very disheartened. That was about 3 years ago. I was struggling with my relationship with my husband, Mike. It's been several years since he retired, and we've been living off our pension. While many people have college degrees, Mike graduated high school and became a department manager at a large construction company before he retired. Maybe as a reaction to quitting his job, he started acting like a boss at home. Mike has always been a henpecked husband. Mike's father and my father were henpecked husbands too. Growing up in the countryside, all my friends' families had henpecked husbands. Because of that, I just accepted that this is how husbands treated their wives. Nowadays, there's a lot of outcry about how being a henpecked husband is disrespectful to wives, and I really feel that's true. Mike, being so stubborn and henpecked, never got along with our only daughter, Karen. Now that she's an adult, she keeps in touch with me but is estranged from Mike. Even Karen rejects him. I'm probably the only one who can handle being with this husband. I could tolerate just being a henpecked husband because I'm used to it, but since retiring, Mike has too much free time and constantly comments on the house not being clean enough or the efficiency of my chores, which is honestly annoying.
What do you want for lunch? Something simple is fine.
So when I make a sandwich, he gets mad and calls it lazy. While I'm cleaning the kitchen,
"The drain's still slimy, isn't it?"
he says. Even if I was about to clean it, if I said that, Mike would definitely get mad, so I stayed quiet. When I argue back, he thinks it's okay to get angry and yells a lot. If it was just that, I could ignore it, but lately, Mike has been unable to control his anger and has started throwing cups, so I try to avoid arguing. At work, he probably yelled at his subordinates with confidence, releasing stress that way. Now, without that outlet, all his anger is directed at me. One day, as I watched a TV show about gray divorce, it didn't feel like someone else's problem anymore. While shopping, I got hit by a bicycle and broke my knee, which required surgery. When the accident happened, Mike was there and looked down at me, in pain, saying, "You're exaggerating." He then quickly went home. A passerby called an ambulance for me out of kindness, and I was hospitalized. Even then, Mike only reluctantly packed the minimum necessities and some documents and handed them to the hospital reception, not even staying with me for the surgery. 2 days after the surgery,
"What are you going to do about the house?"
Mike finally came to visit and asked,
"What? What do you mean?"
And I couldn't help but respond. Since I was hospitalized, there was nothing I could do about the house, but what was this foolish husband talking about?
"I mean the house. I've been doing it, but what are we going to do from now on? Can you take care of it until my leg heals? You're not a baby."
I was so stressed out from being in the hospital that I lashed out at Mike and told him exactly what I thought. Naturally, Mike exploded with anger. He ranted about how my neglecting the house was sheer laziness and that I lacked the necessary commitment, causing quite a scene in the hospital room. A nurse quickly came and escorted Mike out, but the other patients gave me cold, judgmental stares. However,
"It's tough having a hot-tempered husband, isn't it? Mine's the same way."
someone sympathized with me. With friends either having passed away or living far away, I had no one to talk to about my relationship with Mike after he retired. Being in the hospital was a disaster, but it was also good to talk with others about family issues and learn about their situations. It helped me see just how unreasonable Mike was being. I spent about 3 months in the hospital, undergoing daily rehabilitation, but I didn't recover as much as I'd hoped and had to leave in a wheelchair. Thanks to all the complaining about Mike I did with my roommates, I felt much better mentally than before I was hospitalized. Mike had been banned from visiting due to an infection outbreak, so I hadn't seen him at all since his outburst in my room. We only communicated the bare minimum through messages, like where to find the fabric softener. Apparently, he managed to live just fine on his own. Mike isn't all bad. We've been together for over 40 years, after all. I decided not to give up on him just because he became more irritable with age and resolved to be a more patient wife who could let his words slide. But then, on the day I was discharged, even though I had informed him, Mike didn't come to pick me up. It was impossible for me, still not used to the wheelchair, to navigate the train and bus alone. I had no choice but to call a caregiving taxi to take me home, and as soon as I unlocked the door, Mike came storming out.
Why are you back?
He yelled. Why? I told you I was being discharged today. Why didn't you come to get me? I was so shocked.
You left me to do all the housework for months, and now you have the nerve to complain? Where's your apology?
What? How can you say that? I had a hard time in the hospital too. We're both getting old. Can't you support me for once?
No.
Mike's refusal was absolute.
I heard at the hospital. And you're going to be in a wheelchair permanently. I won't take care of a defective person. I want a divorce because I don't want to deal with caregiving. I found out I can live just fine alone. I'd rather be alone than take care of an old person who can't do housework and can't even walk properly.
Listening to his relentless complaints, I was stunned that he felt that way. Part of me had believed that despite his changed personality after retirement, deep down he was still the same as before, that our 40 years together meant we had a bond. The idea of a gray divorce had crossed my mind, but I admired the freedom those women had, and I didn't think I would choose that path. After all, we've had fights that made me want to leave, but we always managed to make up. I thought our history would carry us through, that we'd continue to make it work. Are you sure? You'll regret it. I asked.
Absolutely not.
And Mike declared. Okay, fine. Let's get divorced. I'll leave today. Since you're the one who wants this, can you help me pack? I'll do that right away. I'm glad to be rid of you, Anne. Seeing Mike smile with satisfaction almost brought tears to my eyes, but I held them back. I couldn't believe how brief and empty my marriage had turned out to be. Just a short exchange of let's get divorced and all right was all it took to end it. After the divorce, as we had agreed, I focused on my rehabilitation and went through each day. Rehabilitation was much tougher than I had imagined, but the therapist was kind, and I made many friends around my age, which made it quite enjoyable. One day, I received a call from Mike on my smartphone. Despite several months passing since our divorce, it seemed some of my belongings were still left at the house. He asked me to come and collect them. I thought he could just throw away what I didn't need, but he stubbornly refused to tell me what was left. He also said he didn't want to mail them because the post office was too far. I felt it was a hassle, and I was scared to go to the house, so I suggested meeting at a nearby busy park instead. On the appointed day, Mike was at the park, looking terrible in a wheelchair, with greasy hair and dirty clothes. What happened to you? I asked, but Mike didn't answer, and instead, he looked at me.
Why aren't you in a wheelchair?
And shouted. Well, it was just a fracture. The recovery was slow, but as you can see, I can live with a cane now. The hospital explained it to you when I was admitted, didn't they? Well, you didn't listen because you weren't interested, even though your wife had surgery, right? Yeah, that's true. You're unbelievable. So, what's with you being like this?
Embarrassing as it is, I have a favor to ask. Please, remarry me.
I was taken aback by Mike's second proposal in my life. Why would you even think of that? I asked, and Mike started to explain. Apparently, the reason Mike ended up in a wheelchair was that he had fallen off his bike while riding along the riverbank and injured his cervical spine. I couldn't help but to respond. I told you so many times. Mike loved cycling on his cross bike, but he always had the habit of going too fast. Even when he was younger, He had fallen several times and broken his ribs. His reckless riding style had often been a nuisance.
I know it's your hobby, but you should be more careful, it's dangerous.
I would always tell him. Of course, my henpecked husband Mike never listened, and now, as a result, he was in a wheelchair, which was entirely his responsibility.
The hospital told me to use home care, but I don't want to be taken care of by complete strangers.
Just put up with it.
I can't. That's why I want to remarry you, Anne. As you can see, I can't even take a shower or do laundry properly. I can't stand it anymore. Please help me. You came here without even showering? It's already a selfish request, and you think someone would accept such a sloppy proposal? And you thought I was still in a wheelchair and wanted to remarry me just for caregiving? There's no way that's happening. I have no one else to turn to. Living with a cane would be easier than taking care of me in a wheelchair.
His words were unbelievably selfish. He had always been a man who did nothing for himself and expected others to do everything for him.
I absolutely refuse. It's too much trouble to remarry. I want to be free. Got it?
I rejected Mike's proposal as if to return the words he said to me during our divorce, and he asked,
"Are you serious?" I can't believe you're serious with this proposal, Mike. It's way too audacious.
I responded with a smile.
Think it over. Are you really going to abandon me in this state?
Mike shouted.
Saying I'm abandoning you is rude. Even in this state, no one would want to marry someone who relies on an ex-wife. No, a stranger. Besides, you were the one who left me first. The accident and your current state, they're all your responsibility. Live your life with greasy hair, dirty clothes, and without taking a shower forever.
After expressing truths I never said even during the divorce, I added,
As I said, this is the result of your regret.
Mike seemed to realize he couldn't do anything anymore and hung his head completely. At that time, I thought a day would come when he would get tired of living alone despite thinking it was easy because he was used to having people around him, but I never expected it to turn out like this.
Fine. I'll give up on and rely on Karen.
Karen? That's impossible.
What?
Karen is living with me now. Besides, both Karen and her husband hate you. How can you think you can rely on them now? Mike stood there dumbfounded at my words. He seriously thought he could rely on Karen. Maybe he hit his head too hard when he fell off his bike. He really has no one else to rely on. He should just request home care services. By the way, there are 3 reasons why Mike is hated by Karen. The first is that he was excessively a henpecked husband. Not only to me, but he also tried to make Karen serve alcohol during meals, and she got angry.
I'm not Dad's slave.
And began to hate him. The second reason is that he repeatedly tried to introduce his subordinates to Karen as marriage partners. Of course, I stopped him, but he often brought his subordinates to our home under the pretense of just having a meal. And Karen got fed up and furious. The third reason is that when Karen was getting married, Mike heard that one of her fiancé's siblings was disabled and said,
"Are you planning to make Karen take care of him?"
He fiercely opposed the marriage. Her fiancé declared that there was no such plan and that she wouldn't have to, but Mike didn't believe him. Mike originally wanted Karen to marry someone he approved of. I understood he was worried about Karen. But it would have been better if he just opposed the marriage out of concern. Instead, he harshly criticized the fiancé's brother's disability, showing a complete lack of morals. Repeating what he said then would instantly cause a big problem now. While I understood Mike's feelings, His filthy insults made it impossible for Karen to grasp his true intentions. Karen ended up eloping. I didn't oppose the marriage, so I kept in touch with Karen, but as I said before, she cut ties with Mike. There was no way Mike could live with Karen and her husband. In the end, their marriage went well, and Karen didn't have to do any caregiving. Thanks to her high-earning husband Joe, she's living freely as a housewife. Their marriage was the right decision. Right now, I'm actually in a situation where I've had to rely on Karen after my divorce left me without a place to go, and I feel a bit guilty towards Joe. But when Joe said,
"I really liked the pasta you used to make, and so please make it again when you're feeling better,"
it made me feel happy and hopeful that maybe I could stay with them even after I recovered. When I told Mike about our current situation, he asked,
"So, what am I supposed to do?"
"You're not a baby, figure it out yourself."
"What?"
"I've got Karen waiting in the car, so I need to go now. Take care." With that, I left the scene. Considering I'm walking with a cane and he's in a wheelchair, Mike could have caught up if he tried, but he didn't. I remember him just standing there, looking stunned and defeated. Later on.
"By the way, I didn't get to give you the stuff you left behind that day, so can we meet again?"
Mike contacted me again. But Mike hadn't had anything with him that day, so I knew there was no forgotten item and I didn't respond to his invitation. Apparently, Mike had finally decided to hire a caregiver, but just like he did with me, he kept telling the caregiver to do this and that, and they got furious and unleashed a torrent of insults at him. Of course, that caregiver was dismissed and never came back to Mike, but this incident seemed to have traumatized him, and he's been quite distrustful of people since. People who act tough usually crumble easily when faced with real opposition. The new caregiver is kind, but Mike is still scared and probably wants me to come back. That's something I will never do. On the other hand, my leg has healed significantly, and while I can't move as smoothly as I did before the injury, I'm now able to go for walks without much trouble. I've heard that staying inactive would make my leg worse, so every sunny day, I go for walks with Karen and my grandkids. Sometimes Joe drives us to a nearby field with gentle slopes, and we all enjoy a picnic together. I had planned to move out once I could walk again, but Joe told me,
"The kids are so attached to you, so if you don't mind, please stay here."
So, I've decided to stay. Unlike Mike, Joe takes care of himself and even helps with the household chores. He also takes the initiative to support me, and he's truly a wonderful person. Thanks to my divorce from Mike, I'm now surrounded by such a wonderful family and I am happy. Mike, thank you. This is what I deserved all along. In front of me, my husband and his college cousin apologized. What on earth is going on?
"I'm pregnant. Can I have your husband?"
I was shocked by her words, thinking we had a close family relationship. Unbelievable. But fine. I'll fight back.
"Please take the house and my daughter too. You can have them." "What?"
I told my selfish husband and her an unexpected truth. I am Karen. I am a 37-year-old yoga instructor. I've been married to my husband Tawny, who is 1 year older, for 8 years. Tawny's father is a company owner, and Tawny grew up in a wealthy family, so he is easygoing and naive but kind. Our daughter Sarah is now in middle school and requires little attention, but now money is needed for her after-school classes and fashion. Sometimes she says cheeky things, but without a major rebellious phase, she consults me about anything, and Sarah's always bright smile is my source of energy. Prices keep rising, and every day I think of various ways to save money, but I feel happy in the busy daily life with the three of us. One day, there was a memorial service for my maternal relatives, and Tawny and I went out together. My mother is from Seattle, and the relative's house is more than an hour away after getting off the plane. Unless it's a family event, we rarely meet our distant relatives, and it was the first gathering in a long time. Are you in?
Yes. Long time no see. You're Karen, right?
How many years has it been? You've become so beautiful.
Thank you. Karen, you haven't changed. You still look young.
That's not true. The one I reunited with was my youngest cousin. My mother has many siblings, and Anne's father is the youngest brother. There is about a 10-year age gap between Anne and my mother, making Anne and me cousins, but with a 16-year age difference. The first time we met, Anne was in kindergarten. The last time I saw her, Anne was still in middle school, so it had been about 10 years. Anne, who had grown into a full-grown woman, looked lovely even to my eyes.
I'm attending college in Boston, and today is my first homecoming in a while.
Really? I'm married and living in Boston. Let me introduce my husband. Tawny, this is my cousin Anne.
Nice to meet you, I'm Karen's husband. Nice to meet you, I'm Anne. Karen, I didn't know you had such a young cousin.
Yes, she's cute, right? After that, the friendly and got along well with us since she attended a university in Boston. We were surprised to learn that her university was close to Tawny's company.
You're the son of that company's president? Amazing. Not really. I'm just the second son.
Despite saying that, Tawny looked happy to be praised by the young and cute Anne. We exchanged contact information. Feel free to contact us if you need anything.
Yes.
When you return to Boston, come visit us. I'll introduce my daughter too.
That sounds great. Please do. I'm happy. Thank you.
Then, 2 weeks later, on the weekend, Anne came to our house with a cake and a gift for my daughter.
Hello. This is my daughter, Sarah. I'm in. Nice to meet you.
After that, it didn't take long for our family to get close to Anne. She started coming over to our house once a month, and we would go out to the mall together. Sarah admired the fashionable college girl and since Tawny's workplace and Anne's university were close, Tawny also enjoyed their conversations. I was happy to have a much younger sister. Then let me treat you next time.
Huh? Really?
I use that restaurant sometimes, so I can get a reservation.
Wow.
Apparently, there's a famous restaurant near the office that's become popular among college students, and Tawny has promised to take Anne there.
Dad, that's not fair.
Sarah interrupted. You went there with me before, didn't you?
Do you want to come too, Sarah? I have club activities on weekdays.
I'll take you to a place you like another time, Sarah.
Anne, why don't you invite your friends since it's a special occasion? Can I?
About 3 months passed. Anne suddenly stopped coming over to our house, and the frequent messages she used to send also ceased. When I sent her an invitation message,
I'm busy with studies, so I can't go,
she replied curtly, and when I asked when she'd be free, she didn't answer. Even when I called, she didn't pick up. Feeling a bit worried, I talked to Tawny. If she says she's busy, you shouldn't worry too much. But she used to send messages even for small things. Haven't you heard from her either, Tawny? No, I haven't. Did anything happen when you took her out for a meal? Did you say something offensive and make her mad? Nothing happened. Maybe she got a boyfriend?
Oh, come to think of it, I've never asked if she has a boyfriend.
See? You shouldn't be too persistent.
You're right.
About 2 months after I stopped seeing Anne, I was walking near Tawny's office for an errand and spotted Tawny's back on the sidewalk across the road. Thinking it was good timing, I headed towards the crosswalk and saw a woman with long hair beside him. At first, I thought she was a colleague, but they were very close, almost as if they were cuddling. When the walk sign changed, I hurried to follow them. I was surprised when I got closer. The person next to Tawny was Anne. I knew Anne's university was close to Tawny's office, so it wasn't strange for them to meet by chance. As I got closer to call out to them, I had a strange feeling in my chest. It was a woman's intuition. Although they weren't holding hands, their bodies were so close that it wouldn't be strange if they did. And looked at Tawny with a joy she had never shown at home. And Tawny, too, was gazing at and not like a doting cousin but more like a lover. But no way, that's impossible. I've heard that some daughters link arms with their fathers if they're close, and besides, Tawny is like family to Anne. I composed myself and casually talked to Tawny when he got home that night. You were quite late tonight.
Yeah, there was an unexpected client dinner.
I went near your office today.
Huh?
I thought about calling you.
I was in meetings all day today. I stayed inside the office all day.
Were you not outside at all?
No, not once. If you were nearby, you should have told me beforehand. I would have made time.
I'll do that next time.
Yeah. Then we could have lunch together.
He lied. There was no need to hide meeting Anne. And when I checked the calendar, I noticed Tawny had been coming home late more often and had more business trips. I had trusted him without any doubts, but now I couldn't ignore the increase in missed calls. I started feeling anxious. One Friday night, about a month later.
Isn't Sarah out all day tomorrow?
She's at a club competition, so she'll be back late.
You have free time, right, Karen? I'm bringing a guest, so stay home.
A guest? You can't just spring that on me. I haven't prepared anything.
That's not necessary. I need to talk, so please.
What? The next day, Tawny went out by car and soon returned with the guest.
Anne.
Next to Tawny, with her arm entwined around his, was his cousin Anne. Just as I suspected.
Karen, long time no see.
Long time no see. I was worried because you stopped returning my messages and calls.
I'm sorry.
And smiled without a hint of remorse.
I like you, Karen, but this is how things turned out.
What? In the next moment, Tawny and apologized deeply.
I'm pregnant with Tawny's child, so please give him to me. That's right, Karen. I'm marrying Anne. I'll pay alimony and child support, so please divorce me.
I was shocked by the unexpected turn of events.
Pregnant? Really? Of course. For the sake of the baby, Karen, could you leave this house? Please. I'll pay as much alimony as you want. Just divorce me.
I knew about their betrayal, but I never imagined it would come to this. I felt shock and anger again, but I reminded myself to stay calm.
I have a life too, so I'll be asking for alimony from both of you. What? From me too? Of course. Hey, Tawny. Don't worry, I'll cover your share too.
Tawny seemed completely captivated by her sweet voice. I couldn't stand to watch.
You're quite generous. How do you plan to pay whatever I want? My parents will pay. Dad is the president of a company. He'll do anything for a young, cute daughter-in-law and a grandchild. Rich people are amazing.
Right. But a verbal promise isn't enough. We'll need to put this in writing, okay?
Of course. As long as I can be with him, I'm fine with that.
Then I'll agree to the divorce. How about we prepare the documents later?
Sure. I'll leave the preparations to you.
I already have the divorce papers with me.
I've filled them out, so please sign them, Karen.
What? Now?
Yes. I want to reassure Anne.
Karen, I'm sorry. We used to be a happy family just half a year ago, but it feels like ages. The two people in front of me now seemed like strangers, consumed by greed and only thinking of themselves. When I signed the divorce papers, they embraced right in front of me. I held back my tears, but my heart hardened. I would never sympathize with them. A few days later, Tawny and Ant came to my house again. I handed them the documents. Please review the contents.
Okay.
They were humming happily.
Hey, we're going to live in this house too, right? You're moving out, Karen?
And asked as if it were the most natural thing in the world.
After all, the baby is coming, and we want to live in a big house without worrying about money. Please, Tawny.
Of course. I sighed. In that case, you can have the house and the daughter too.
What?
And gasped at my response.
What? I don't want Sarah. My only child is the one in my belly. Take your daughter with you. A mother shouldn't abandon her child.
Anne's attitude changed dramatically, and she started treating my daughter and me like nuisances. She clearly didn't know anything.
You're the one abandoning a child.
What?
Sarah isn't my child. She's Tawny's stepdaughter. What?
And was shocked by my words. Tawny hadn't told Anne that I was his second wife, and must have assumed that Sarah and I were real mother and daughter because of how close we are.
What? What does that mean? You didn't tell me.
And was furious. Tawny hurriedly tried to explain.
Yes, but it'll be fine. Karen will take in Sarah. After all, Karen couldn't get pregnant. If Sarah leaves too, Karen will be all alone. Right? Letting Karen take Sarah is my kindness.
Tawny's words ignite an explosion of anger inside me. It's true that I couldn't have my own child. There was a time when I felt depressed, but I have been grateful for Sarah's presence and raised her as my own daughter, and Sarah sees me as her real mother. Feeling like our feelings were being trampled on, just as I was about to shout, the door behind us swung open forcefully.
Enough already.
What? Tawny was so startled by the sudden loud voice that he fell backward.
Dad! What?
Emerging from the back room were Tawny's parents.
Why are you here?
Tawny's face turned pale. Karen called us. You're planning to divorce her after getting your mistress pregnant? Susan, who is usually so refined, glared at Tawny with a terrifying expression.
We heard everything. How dare you try to abandon Karen and Sarah and throw them out of this house? You're the one who's going to leave. What? No, wait, Dad. Karen is fine with the divorce. And is young and cute, right? She's carrying my child. You'll have a cute grandchild.
And, understanding who was present, spoke in a sweet voice.
You're Tawny's dad, right? Nice to meet you.
Father-in-law Alex covered his face with his hand, and Susan let out a deep sigh.
Karen, I'm truly sorry. We've spoiled him because he's our second son, but I never thought he'd turn out to be this terrible. An apology isn't enough, but we want to offer you our sincerest apologies.
Please, Alex and Susan, it's not your fault. You've always been so kind and supportive.
Dad was right. And they'll definitely help us out. Thank goodness. You misunderstand. What?
Tawny's expression froze at Alex's lowered voice.
Why should we pay for Tawny's compensation? What? But you just said. We said we would offer our apologies to Karen, nothing more. Any compensation or child support, you'll pay yourself. What?
That's right. We won't give Tawny a single cent.
Mom! Wait, what do you mean? You said you'd take care of me too.
And started to panic.
You promised you'd handle everything, right? You said your dad's a CEO and you're never short on money.
Seeing their situation worsen, I decided to drop another bombshell.
Is Anne's baby really Tawny's child? What?
Anne's face turned pale at my words, and Tawny looked confused.
What do you mean?
Calmly, I laid out the documents and photos on the table. Tawny gasped as he looked at the photos.
What is this? Who's this guy?
These were the reports from the detective agency. Of course, they detailed Tawny and Anne's infidelity, but they also revealed Anne's double-crossing. No, more than double-crossing.
Anne's real love is the man in those photos. She's been infatuated with him, and the relationship goes way back before you. What? That can't be. Right, Anne?
His words fell on deaf ears as Anne turned pale and fell silent.
So, who do you think is the father of her child? Is it possible she's really been two-timing? It's not two-timing. Right, you do love me. Don't insult him by calling it two-timing. What?
Tawny stood there, dumbfounded.
Without money, do you think a middle-aged man like you stands a chance with me? What? To keep seeing him, a part-time job salary isn't nearly enough. He said if I don't tell anyone, I can have the baby, and he'd even secretly visit the child. I'm the only one who understands him.
Isn't she just being deceived? It seemed Tawny was just being used for his money after all.
Are you kidding me? That guy is the worst. How dare you say that? I won't forgive you. Apologize. Hey! I don't care about that. What?
Alex raised his voice in anger again, and the room fell silent.
Tawny, just sign the agreement. No objections.
No way.
Tawny's work attitude has been a problem for months. There have been reports of unauthorized business trips and disappearing without contact. What? If the reason is because of your betrayal of Karen, there's no room for leniency. Tawny, you're demoted. What? You will pay compensation and child support as promised. If you can't, you'll be fired. What? Please, Dad. You've always helped me. There's a child coming, I beg you.
Not your child, Tawny. Susan said clearly.
And it was my money that paid for this house. I won't allow you to live here. What?
Tawny was frozen by Alex's words.
If you want to live here, you'll have to pay me back $500,000.
But you said I didn't have to. Oh, we put money into a house for Karen and Sarah. If you're going to kick them out and live with that young woman, you'll pay it all back. Susan's words made Tawny turn pale, but he retorted as if realizing something.
Karen just said she'd give me Sarah. She's heartless. I'll take care of Sarah. Right, Mom? No. Sarah is not going to you. What?
I stared at him.
I only said that to let Anne know the truth. Sarah is my daughter. What? You're just saying whatever suits you. You plan to use Sarah to get money from my parents. That's what you did, Tawny.
I said firmly.
I hope Alex and Susan remain important grandparents to Sarah, but I don't expect any financial help. My job is stable, and I have savings. I can live with Sarah without any problems. My job is stable, and I have savings. I can live with Sarah without any problems.
But Sarah is my daughter. She should want to live with her real parent. At that moment, a small voice was heard. I want to be with Mom. Not you.
What?
A quiet but clear voice.
Sarah?
You should be at practice. Tawny looked even more shocked than when he looked at Alex and Susan. I said I wanted to be here. I'm glad I got to hear Dad's true feelings. I have no doubts now.
What?
I was sad that you betrayed Mom, but I still care about you, Dad. I thought maybe you got carried away by a younger woman. If you sincerely apologized and wanted to make things right, I was ready to persuade Mom. Sarah. But I was wrong. You were just using me to get money from Grandpa and Grandma.
No, that's not true. I heard everything.
Sarah shouted with tears in her eyes. Mom raised me as her real daughter. Even without blood ties, I feel loved. She's my real mom. Sarah. Thank you. You're my treasure. I'm sorry for putting you through this. Tears welled up in my eyes. It's okay. I don't need a dad like you anymore. Sarah, I've seen how much Karen has always loved you. Rest assured, we'll always be here for you both. Thank you, Grandma. Yes, that's right. Karen, don't hesitate to rely on us.
Alex, thank you.
While the four of us were hugging, tears streaming down our faces, Tawny hesitantly spoke up.
Can I join?
Sarah wiped her tears and looked up at Tawny. What? You're still here?
What? What are you doing? Get out now.
The divorce papers are ready. If there's anything else, the lawyer will handle it. With Sarah, Alex, and Susan all telling him, Tawny was left speechless. Finally, I added my own words. And take that woman with you. She's a stranger to us.
Wait, please.
Several months have passed since then. Tawny and apparently broke up after that huge fight. And, who needed money, kept insisting she wouldn't leave Tawny, but when Tawny mentioned a DNA test for the baby, she fell silent. She tried to cling to the baby's father. But he coldly told her he had no proof it was his child, leading to several outbursts and attempts to force her way into his home. And eventually dropped out of college and returned to her parents' home, where she shut herself away, refusing to answer their questions about the baby's father. The baby is innocent in all this. While I don't plan to forgive and for what she did, I secretly hope that the new life she's carrying will bring some light into her future. Children are truly precious. After breaking up with Tawny quickly tried to reconcile with us, but both Sarah and I politely refused. He was demoted and transferred to a distant branch office, where he now works hard to cover alimony and child support. The branch manager there is Alex's brother, who knows the situation and is reportedly very strict with Tawny to help him rebuild his character. Sarah and I continue to live comfortably in our home. Sometimes Alex and Susan visit us, or we go visit them. Technically, they're no longer my parents-in-law, but they remain Sarah's beloved grandparents. Sarah has started dropping by the gym where I teach yoga. It's safer to walk home together after her club activities and my work end around the same time. Recently, she seems to have taken an interest in someone at the gym. Trainer Mark?
He's super handsome, right?
But he's about 10 years older than you, Sarah. Plus, he's very popular because he's so good-looking. I'm worried.
It's not like that. Mark is just fun to watch because he's my favorite.
Aren't there any nice boys at school?
There is someone I like.
What?
Actually, we're dating.
What? Wait a minute. Sarah, you didn't tell me that. Seeing my reaction, she laughed joyfully.
It's the first time I'm telling you. Actually, he just confessed to me recently.
Her shy smile made my heart melt. I moved closer and hugged her tightly.
So, you have to tell me his name. Mom, it's too hot. Let go.
As we playfully wrestled, I silently vowed to protect these precious moments forever.
Since the old man's gone, as the eldest son, I'm pretty much the rulemaker now. Listen up, the inheritance is all ours. Mom and Nolan get nothing, so just be ready for that.
Sorry about this, but Ryan would probably be happier this way. It's better for Aaron, who always put Ryan first, to inherit everything than for it to go to useless Olivia and Nolan. Aaron and his wife Grace, even as Ryan grew weaker, never came to see him, despite being asked to visit many times. And then, after the funeral, they show up, only to say unbelievable things like they're taking all the inheritance. Aaron and Grace's unbelievable behavior left Nolan, the second son, visibly upset. And rightly so. We had always strived to do everything for Ryan's sake. But Aaron and Grace never pitched in. The idea of them getting the inheritance was intolerable. Of course, we never intended to give them everything, but even a portion was too much to bear. While pondering this, Nolan opened.
Listen.
His mouth to speak. The words he then uttered turned Aaron and Grace's faces pale. I am Olivia, a 71-year-old housewife. I live with my husband Nolan. My husband Ryan comes from a family that owns a major corporation. As a second son, he didn't take over as CEO, but he still had substantial assets. Yet, despite his wealth, Ryan was always strict about money. He never tolerated wastefulness. In fact, he encouraged savings. We believed that having money was good, but wastefulness was not. So, we always treated money with care. Aaron and Grace, however, didn't see it our way. They were rather extravagant, often spending on unnecessary things and indulging in luxuries. It wouldn't have been an issue if they managed their finances. But after spending recklessly, we're in financial trouble. They often came to us, saying, on this day, Aaron and Grace had come to our house together. Nolan, not wanting to see them, had gone out. Again? I thought, exasperated. Ignoring our disapproval, Aaron approached Ryan. Dad, we're struggling with our finances this month. Could you help us out a bit? Ryan frowned at Nolan's words. He too was frustrated with Aaron and Grace's reckless spending. Then Grace spoke up, trying to persuade Ryan.
You know, we have Colton too. He's about to enter high school. He wants to go to a prestigious private school. But private schools are expensive, right? Colton's your beloved grandson, isn't he? Maybe you could help a little? What do you mean by that?
The audacity of their request was astounding. Despite needing help, their attitude was incredibly brazen. But Colton wasn't to blame. It was all due to Aaron and Grace's selfishness.
All right, if Colton's in trouble, I'll help. But no wasteful spending. And don't let Colton suffer.
Ryan had always adored Colton. So, when Colton was in need, he couldn't help but offer financial assistance. Aaron and Grace knew this and exploited it, using Colton as their reason. It was the same story over and over. Later, we agreed to give them the money. Per Ryan's instructions, I transferred a reasonable amount to Aaron and Grace's account. We knew something had to change in our lives. But nothing seemed to work out. Then, more misfortune struck. Ryan collapsed. Nolan, who was there, called an ambulance, and Ryan was taken to the hospital. He was diagnosed with cancer, quite advanced. And the treatment wasn't guaranteed to be effective. We were devastated by this news, but resolved to support Ryan to the end. I went to the hospital every day. Nolan, despite working, spent his days off in Ryan's hospital room. But Ryan looked so lonely. Aaron and his family never visited him. Ryan grew increasingly worn out, unable to see Colton, whom he adored. Unable to bear seeing Ryan like this, I contacted Aaron and Grace. "I'd like you to come visit me with Colton." But Aaron and Grace responded with, "It's a hassle," and never came. "Ryan looks so lonely. Could you at least bring Colton? Ryan has done so much for you." I asked Aaron and Grace to visit whenever I saw them, but they refused, saying,
"We're busy. Colton has high school exams. We don't have time to cater to Ryan, who won't live long." "It's true, Dad helped us, but we have our lives to live. Sorry, but you'll have to give up,"
they said with cold words. "Is Colton doing well? I wish to see him just once," Ryan would mutter sadly. It was painful to hear. Ryan's difficult battle with cancer lasted about a year. The treatment took a heavy toll on him. Eventually, after a long struggle, Ryan passed away. The loss was indescribable. Nolan supported me, even though he must have been hurting too. I should have helped with the funeral arrangements, but I was too overwhelmed with grief and left everything to Nolan.
"Mom, you were always by Dad's side. I wasn't able to be there because of work. Now, lean on me."
Nolan's words were incredibly comforting. But Aaron and Grace never offered to help with the funeral preparations. Even when informed of Ryan's death, they didn't respond. Aaron, Ryan's own flesh and blood, was so heartless it hurt. Ryan's funeral was a quiet affair, attended only by close family and friends. Aaron and Grace didn't show up even on the day of the funeral. We were too busy to worry about them. After the funeral, carrying the flowers and sympathy cards home, Nolan and I were placing them on the altar when the doorbell rang. Who could it be at this time? We wondered, exchanging glances. The front door opened. Only a few people have keys to our house. We sighed, knowing who it was. It was Aaron and his family. Seeing Colton after such a long time felt strange.
"Sorry we couldn't make it to the funeral. We had a family trip planned,"
Aaron said, casually entering the living room. Following Aaron into the living room were Grace and Colton. Astonished by their audacity, I was even more taken aback when Aaron said something unbelievable.
"Now that the old man's gone, as the eldest, I'm pretty much in charge. Listen up, the entire inheritance is ours. Mom and Nolan get nothing, just so you know." "What?"
I blurted out in disbelief. "Sorry about this. But Ryan would probably be happier this way. It's better for the inheritance to go to Aaron, who always considered Ryan first, than to useless Olivia and Nolan." I was stunned by Aaron and Grace's outrageous claims. After leaving everything to us and enjoying their easy life, they now showed up to claim Ryan's inheritance. I couldn't bear the thought of even a part of the inheritance ending up in Aaron and Grace's hands. While we were struggling with this dilemma, Nolan suddenly spoke up, flipping the situation.
"I've been thinking, Colton doesn't really look like Aaron."
Everyone, including Aaron's family and myself, was shocked by this statement. Why would he say such a thing now? There's no time for this.
"Nolan, what are you saying? Colton is definitely Aaron's child. He just takes after me."
Grace reacted most strongly to Nolan's casual remark, her face turning pale as if a taboo subject had been broached.
"Why are you so flustered? I just mentioned it casually because I was curious. Also, Colton doesn't seem to resemble Grace either, or is it just me?"
Nolan suggested I take a closer look at Colton's face. Sure enough, he didn't seem to resemble Nolan, nor Grace. Especially since Grace claimed,
"He looks like me."
That statement didn't seem quite right. Aaron, apparently thinking the same, turned pale and glared at Grace.
"Aaron, are you accusing me of cheating? Could Colton not be my son?"
Aaron said, grabbing Grace by the collar. Grace frantically denied it.
"No, that's not true."
But her denial lacked credibility. The situation was escalating, and without intervention, it could spiral out of control. Eventually, Nolan stepped in.
Calm down. It'll all be clear once we do the DNA test.
We decided. Grace kept arguing until the end, saying,
There's no need for that.
And,
Doubting our parental bond?
although he was complaining about this, Aaron seemed to have a strong will and decided to take a DNA test with Colton in the near future without being swayed by Grace's words. For a few days, I had little contact with Aaron and Grace, mostly spending my time sorting through Ryan's belongings. Then, one day, the doorbell rang again. Nolan, who was with me, wondered, who could it be? As we heard the front door opening. "Mom, are you here?" Aaron asked as he entered the living room. It seemed he had come alone today. It was unusual for Aaron to visit our house by himself, so I made coffee and offered him a seat. As he sat down, Aaron, with a look of humiliation, placed a document on the table. The document Aaron placed on the table was the DNA test result. It stated that there was no paternal relationship between Colton and Aaron. In other words, Colton wasn't Aaron's child.
I've been deceived by Grace. Colton must be the child of her lover. She betrayed me.
Aaron exclaimed, his face turning red with anger. Certainly, cheating is wrong. And Aaron may deserve some pity for being deceived. However, I couldn't sympathize with him. We hadn't forgotten Aaron's past unreasonable behavior. Grace's betrayal didn't justify taking Aaron's side.
I won't be satisfied until I've thoroughly confronted Grace. Please, help me. Your eldest son was deceived, and you must be upset too. We need to unite as a family now.
Aaron pleaded, taking our hands. But I couldn't bring myself to cooperate with Aaron. My feelings were cooling even more. Seeing this, Nolan spoke up.
Sorry, but I can't support you, Aaron. You betrayed Dad too. We haven't forgotten that.
Aaron was one of those who abandoned Ryan. If he had supported Ryan then, maybe his loneliness could have been lessened. Thinking this, I couldn't easily forgive Aaron.
That was a different time. I was trying to spend time with my family, but they are not our family anymore.
Aaron pleaded desperately for our help. Despite our reluctance, we agreed to call Grace. Since the decision to do the DNA test, Grace had been taking Colton out often, rarely coming home. Grace didn't show her face even when Aaron contacted her, so I decided to contact her, using Ryan's inheritance as a pretext. I wouldn't normally do this, nor did I want to. But I did because
I have a secret plan,
Nolan said. Soon after, the doorbell rang. It seemed Grace and Colton had arrived. As I opened the door to let them in, Grace frowned at Aaron's jacket hanging next to the door.
You didn't tell me Aaron was here. Did you deceive me, Olivia?
Grace exclaimed, about to leave with Colton. If they left now, calling them under the guise of discussing the inheritance would be pointless. Just as I was wondering how to keep them, Nolan stepped forward.
Wait, Grace, calm down. If you leave now, things might get worse. It's better to talk here, where we can control Aaron, than alone. It's in your best interest.
Certainly, if Grace and Aaron were to talk alone, the outcome could be unpredictable. Aaron might even become violent in his anger. In such cases, probably only Nolan could restrain him. Convinced by Nolan's reasoning, Grace and her family entered the house. As they passed through the living room door, Aaron glared at them. In response, Nolan, urging calmness, said,
Settle down.
He then seated everyone and served coffee. Grace and her family looked visibly uncomfortable, but we managed to calm the situation. At that time, I didn't understand why Nolan had chosen such a complicated approach. Why did he need to gather us all here? Wouldn't talking to them individually have worked? But later, thanks to a trump card Nolan revealed, I understood why he had gathered us in that place. The room fell silent. Both Aaron and Grace seemed to be gauging each other's reactions. Unable to bear the tension,
I'm so sorry.
Grace suddenly apologized.
I never intended for this to happen. I was deceived too,
Grace said, crying and recounting her story. Her affair had begun over a decade ago, with a colleague from her workplace at the time. She had been in a relationship with him even before meeting Aaron. However, her lover was married with children. They still loved each other, Grace claimed. They drifted apart, and that's when Grace met Aaron. Aaron fell for her at first sight and passionately confessed his feelings. Grace, whose feelings for her lover were fading, started dating Aaron and eventually married him. About a year later, Grace reconnected with her distant lover. She hadn't expected to meet him again as she had quit her job by then. Their rekindled romance led to Grace becoming enthralled once more. That's when she became pregnant with Colton. However, around the same time, her lover moved away with his family, effectively abandoning Grace. She knew it was wrong not to tell Aaron that Colton wasn't his child, but she didn't have the confidence to raise a child alone. So Grace lied that Colton was Aaron's child and continued that lie.
If he hadn't left, I would have been honest about the affair and that Colton wasn't Aaron's child. It's all his fault.
Grace continued crying. Colton was silent, shocked by the revelation.
That doesn't excuse what you did. You betrayed me. You destroyed my happiness.
Grace's excuses seemed incoherent. Even Aaron couldn't accept such explanations. Aaron and Grace started arguing and grabbing each other, escalating into a fight. But as if to admonish Aaron and Grace, Nolan claps his hands.
If you want to fight, go ahead, but I have something important to say too. I can't stop thinking about Dad's inheritance.
At Nolan's words, Aaron and Grace immediately stopped their quarrel. Perhaps the mention of the inheritance they were so fixated on was enough to calm their anger. Seemingly agreeing to a truce, the two sit down. Seeing them seated, Nolan smiles with satisfaction and pulls out an envelope from his pocket.
This is Dad's will. He had it written by a trustworthy lawyer during his time in the hospital. It clearly states how the inheritance is to be divided.
I was unaware of the existence of a will. Probably Ryan had directly asked Nolan to arrange for a lawyer. Nolan opens the envelope and begins to read the contents of the letter inside. What he reads is astonishing.
The inheritance will be divided with half going to my wife, Olivia, and 1/4 each to my son, Nolan, and my grandson, Colton.
The atmosphere changes dramatically as Nolan reads this line. Aaron, turning pale,
That can't be right,
exclaims. He lunges at Nolan, snatching the will and reading it, his eyes widening to their limits.
How can this be? Why is there nothing for me? I'm the eldest son.
He had always assumed, with certainty, that he would receive a larger share of the inheritance. Yet, hearing that he wasn't allocated even a small part, Aaron couldn't possibly accept it. However, Aaron, disheartened that the content didn't change no matter how many times he read it, slumped to the ground. Taking the will from Aaron, I reread it to confirm, and it seemed there was no mistake in what Nolan had read.
Naturally, Aaron, you and your wife had received substantial financial support from Dad, right? Dad was well aware that all that money was being used for your frivolities. That's why he decided not to leave anything for you.
Nolan spoke calmly. Ryan's secret trump card had indeed managed to plunge Aaron into despair. Then, Nolan warned Grace.
By the way, I've already informed Grace's parents as per Dad's instructions. The portion of the inheritance going to Colton will be temporarily held by Grace's parents. So, it's better not to think you can misuse Colton's inheritance. How could this be?
It seemed that Nolan and Ryan had carefully acted to prevent selfish wastage as before. In that case, surely the portion allocated to Colton would be used for his future. Ryan had been concerned about Colton until the end. Ryan's inheritance would surely nourish Colton. The two issues that surrounded us, Grace's infidelity and Ryan's inheritance, were finally resolved. We no longer needed to devote time to Aaron and Grace. After the discussion, Aaron's family returned home, looking dejected. What happens next is for them to discuss among themselves. I believed it would turn out well for us. As expected, Aaron and Grace ended up divorcing. We who had heard Grace's confession that day became undeniable witnesses, and Aaron demanded a substantial compensation from Grace. Further disputes arose over the custody of Colton. Both wanted the custody solely for themselves, knowing that Colton could eventually secure the inheritance. Myself, Nolan, and Grace's parents intervened in the negotiations. Eventually, it was decided that Colton would stay with Grace's parents until he came of age. Once the divorce was finalized, Aaron started visiting our house frequently.
"Let's live together,"
saying. Feeling unable to accept him as family after all this, we moved out, almost fleeing from Aaron. We changed our contact details, so it's unlikely that Aaron will be able to reach us. Grace, for her part, seems to be having a tough time. From what I've heard, her parents are furious over the incident. They paid the compensation, but until she repays it in full, she's not allowed to even see Colton. Meanwhile, we are living a happy life. Following Ryan's philosophy, we carefully save the inheritance we received and make sure not to squander it, even though we have money. Since then, Nolan has been working diligently and was recognized for his abilities. John, from brother-in-law, asked him,
"Why don't you come to work for our company?"
So, he changed jobs. Now he seems to be an executive at the company where John is the CEO. I still consider Colton my grandson despite everything that happened, so I asked Grace's parents if I could visit him. He recently got into his first choice high school, so we celebrated by going out for a delicious meal. The incident with Aaron and Grace remains a deep emotional scar, but it also taught us the importance of relationships. I will use this lesson to live my life going forward.